Chapter 3:11. Ling Zhiling and Qin Wan chatted with each other. They didn't feel sleepy at all. Although their topics were limited, they had enough to talk about Su Yun. Therefore, the whole morning passed by quickly without them noticing. Because Wu Yuandong had promised President Zhua that he would be back before dinner, he got up quickly at the appointed time. At the same time, Ruan Qingshuang was also awakened by a phone call. It was Liang Shan. He also learned from Dan Jiahao that they would all come, along with Brother Yun's celebrity friends. Therefore, when he saw that it was time, he called to ask Ruan Qingshuang how to arrange the meal. After Ruan Qingshuang instructed Liang Shan, she wanted to get up to wake everyone up. When she turned around, she was shocked. Su Yun was stretching on the sofa. He was also awakened by the phone call. "When did you come in? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you come to the bed to sleep? Can you be comfortable on the sofa?" Su Yun scratched his head. "When I came in, you were already asleep. I was afraid of waking you up, so I took a nap on the sofa for a while. It's okay. It's okay to sleep well at night. By the way, Wan is back. She's happily chatting with Sister Zhiling in her room. I just wanted to call her. Then I'll go and wake up Guagua and the others. You go downstairs and take a look. Liang Shan and the others haven't seen you for a long time. They are always asking when you will come back." Ruan Qingshuang smiled slightly. "Go. Okay." Su Yun got up and took the elevator downstairs. He really hadn't been back for a long time. As soon as he reached the first floor, Su Yun heard Dan Jiahao bragging to Chong at the door. He said that Brother Yun got the otaku goddess, Sister Zhiling, and that they were sleeping in the same room upstairs. At this time, LV Wenny found that Su Yun came down. Just as she was about to call Brother Yun, Su Yun gestured for her to be silent. LV Wenny certainly knew what Su Yun wanted to do. Of course, she also heard Dan Jiahao bragging to Chong. Moreover, Chong was listening attentively with relish. Then, focus. How is it now? Is she still upstairs sleeping with Brother Yun? Chong's eyes were shining. He admired in his heart. How could his Brother Yun be so awesome? He even got the goddess, Ling Zhiling. Dan Jiahao bragged happily. Of course, she is still upstairs sleeping with Brother Yun. At this time, a small security guard standing beside Dan Jiahao and Chong turned his head and saw Su Yun. He was stunned and quickly pulled Dan Jiahao and said, "Brother Hao Yun." Brother Yun came down. "Damn, you learned to scare me, right?" Dan Jiahao didn't believe it. He lifted his foot and lightly kicked the little security guard's butt. Go. I'm talking to Brother Chong here. You don't have the right to interrupt. Go back to your post and cheer up. Don't lose the face of our hotel." "Yes." The little security guard wanted to say more, but when he saw Su Yun put his finger to his mouth and made a silent gesture, he didn't say anything. He bowed his head and obediently went to stand at the front door. Dan Jiahao continued to brag to Chong, "Brother Chong, I am not bragging to you. Brother Yun definitely didn't stay idle last night. Today, he definitely won't let go of the opportunity to train. You didn't see Ling Zhiling's small waist and small face. She is much prettier than in the movies. As long as it is a man, he will." Chongzi suddenly felt that something was wrong. As soon as he looked up, he saw Su Yun standing behind Dan Jiahao. He immediately opened his mouth wide. Seeing Chong's expression, Dan Jiahao was stunned. Then he wondered, "Brother Chong, are you going to lie to me? Brother Yun is standing behind me? That's impossible. That old man must still be having fun upstairs. If Big Brother Yun was here, he would definitely kick my butt, Before he finished laughing, Su Yun's foot hooked Dan Jiahao's butt. Although Su Yun's kick wasn't heavy, it still made Dan Jiahao stagger. This kid was mainly scared. The moment he turned around, his whole face was like a bitter gourd as he complained to Chong, Brother Yun is here. Why didn't you tell me? You wouldn't believe me even if I told you." Chong laughed and then put on a gloating expression. Who told you to brag? How about it? Brother Yun personally came to teach you a lesson. Brother Yun is not the kind of person who will sleep with women. Su Yun really wanted to give Chong a kick. Was he praising him? Or was he insulting him? Often, when a person says I'm not bragging, he will start bragging. Chong said proudly, I knew this kid was bragging just now. Hey. I was just casually listening. If Brother Yun didn't come, I would have kicked him and told him to stop bragging. Su Yun glanced at Chongzi and said, often, when a person says I'm not trying to hurt you, he will start to hurt you. Ah! Chong was stunned. He didn't understand Su Yun's meaning. It's not you or me. Chong, you're already an adult. How can you believe Jia Hao's words so much? Look at how agitated you were just now. What then? Focus on the main point. Su Yun said, all right, I think you really need to go back to the furnace to further your studies. Why don't I ask Mayor Qin for help tomorrow and help you re-enroll in Hadong First High School for a few years? Chong also shut his mouth and didn't say anything. He stood by the side and smiled foolishly. After a while he said, Mayor Qin is so busy now. How can he have time to care about such a small matter? Brother Yun, don't worry. Tomorrow, I'll go to Yi University to enroll myself and study my IQ. The three of them chatted casually. LV Wenny went to the kitchen and called Liang Shan out. Liang Shan hurriedly put down his things and ran out. He shouted in the hall, Brother Yun. His voice was so loud that it made Su Yun tremble. Liang Shan was indeed Liang Shan. I haven't seen you for a few days. I noticed that your aura has become more vigorous. Is it because you ate too much medicinal cuisine? Hee, that's right. This diet is too nourishing every day. Brother Yun, do you have anything in particular you want to eat? I'll arrange for the kitchen immediately. Sister Shuang arranged it just now. She said that you have a friend coming over, so we'll make it more special. Liang Shan said, do you have anything else you want to add? Su Yun thought for a while and shook his head. No need. Since Sister Shuang has arranged it, we'll follow her arrangements. We'll make it special. Chong heard and immediately rushed over. Brother Shanzi, did you say that Brother Yun's friend really came over? Of course. He's a big star. Liang Shan said proudly. Chong looked at Su Yun from head to toe. Then, he turned around and grabbed Dan Jiahao's neck under his arm. He pulled Dan Jiahao and ran out. As he ran, he said, Continue what you said just now. What did Brother Yun do to Ling Jiling? Su Yun was too lazy to pay attention to the two guys. He estimated that Ruan Qingxuang and the others would be coming down soon. Sure enough, just as Su Yun looked at the time, Ruan Qingxuang and Qin Wan invited Ling Jiling and Wu Yuandong, who were now guests, down. Chou Yun and Guagua brought up the rear. Chong and Dan Jiahao, who had just run outside, quickly stopped fooling around. They tidied up their clothes and pretended to walk back. After all, Hadong City was a small third-tier city in China. Stars were a luxury in such a small city. It was easy to not see them. Shanzi, let the kitchen prepare. Let's let the guests eat first, Ruan Qingxuang said. Then, she waved at Chong and signaled him to come over. Chong was happy. He left Dan Jiahao aside and ran over. Sister Shuang, what's your order? Do you have anything to do in the afternoon? If you're free, you can accompany Mr. Wu and have a drink or two, Ruan Qingxuang said. No problem. Chong said. Nothing is more important than our hotel. Since such an important guest is here, of course I have to accompany him. Wu Yuandong suddenly said, Sorry, I can't drink. After dinner, I have to hurry. Then, Wu Yuandong called Su Yun aside. He knew what Su Yun was thinking, so he went straight to the point. Brother Su Yun, although you're home, Miss Ling and I have to go back to report. Ms. Swa called me. I said I would be back before this afternoon. She's waiting to welcome you. What are you going to do? Su Yun had thought about this before, but he couldn't figure it out. Now, he could only let nature take its course. I'll call her and explain. Don't worry. Since you've decided to go back in the afternoon, I won't force you to stay. Brother Dong, I'm an honest person. When you have time, come to Hadong City alone. I'll definitely drink with you. I believe you. Wu Yuandong smiled and pointed at his watch. Brother Su Yun, if that's the case, I'll be straightforward. I have to hurry back in the afternoon. The journey from Hadong City to Jibei City isn't short, so we'll have a simple meal. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. If we prepare a big table, this meal will take at least 2 hours. So, I'm worried that we don't have enough time. After all, you're not going back with us. You should at least give Ling Jiling some time to explain to Ms. Zhua. Ms. Zhua, you know that even if you explain to her, she'll definitely ask us the reason. Su Yun nodded. Wu Yuandong was right. Since that was the case, he had to comply. He went back and explained the situation to Wan Qingshuang. Then, he asked Liang Shan to choose the most exquisite 8-course medicinal cuisine. Su Yun led everyone to sit down and accompany them. They gave Ling Jiling and Wu Yuandong a simple farewell meal. They ate very quickly and finished it in half an hour. Ling Jiling also knew that Wu Yuandong was doing the right thing. They had to hurry back before Ms. Zhua finished arranging everything. If Ms. Zhua went to the hotel to wait for them, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves when they arrived. Now, they could only finish the meal as soon as possible and rush back to the company before 5 p.m. That way, they could at least leave some leeway. Chapter 3:12. Qin Wan still felt like she was dreaming. This is the biggest star I've ever seen. I asked for a lot of autographs. I'll show them off when I go to work on Monday. Su Yun, you're really something. What did you do in Northern G? How did you manage to get involved with an A-list star? Su Yun shrugged. Would you believe me if I told you that I went to Suwong with Ling Jiling to shoot an advertisement? I believe you. How much did they give you, Dad? Guagua continued. Did Sister Xiao Jiu introduce you to a chance to earn extra money? Why isn't she with you? I miss her. When can I see her? I'm afraid she doesn't have time to see you recently. Su Yun shook her head. The Tang family was so busy that their heads were in a mess. If Tang Jiu didn't do something big and help the Tang family, they wouldn't have a good time. Only when Tang Jiu did something big would she be able to live in peace. Qin Weina sighed. It seems that no one has it easy. Forget it. I won't chat with you guys anymore. I'll go to the bureau in the afternoon. The bidding for the artificial river has not been settled yet. People nowadays run really fast. In the blink of an eye, you can't even find your shadow. Su Yun is back. Ask Su Yun to help you, Ruan Qingshuang said hurriedly. Su Yun, something big happened in Hadong City while you were away. What happened? Su Yun was stunned for a moment. It didn't matter if he didn't ask. Once he asked, no one spoke. They all lowered their heads. Even Chengzi and Dan Jiahao lowered their heads and didn't speak. Guagua had seen a lot. She pondered for a while and said to Su Yun, a few days ago, the city wanted to improve the environment of the artificial river. They wanted to attract investors. They wanted to use a few hundred acres of land around the artificial river in exchange for investors to improve the environment of the artificial river. Forget it, I'll do it. Qin Wan was worried that Guagua could not express herself clearly. The city wants to find someone to rebuild the man-made river, but the cost is too high. So, they put the surrounding hundreds of acres of land at the current price. They want to attract good projects and stimulate the economy of Hadong City. Everyone knew that place was a piece of juicy meat, so they fought over it like crazy. Lu Feng, Dan Hongning, and Kong Zhong are also preparing to take this project. They have already discussed it with the bank. As long as they can take this project, money is not a problem. Su Yun was a little surprised. They've already set their sights on it. Who dares to compete with them? If it's just people from Hadong City, no one would dare to compete with them. But the problem is that this bidding is not only for our city. People from all over Zhongbei province can compete for this bid. Qin Wan continued, people with discerning eyes can see that this place has a lot of potential. If we do some projects around the artificial river, we will only make money. So, many companies have come to bid. Did something happen to Lu Feng and the others? Su Yun did not wait for Qin Wan to finish. He looked at LV Wenyi as he spoke. LV Wenyi shook her head at first, then nodded. What's going on? Su Yun was now certain that something had happened. Ruan Qingshuang sighed. Let me tell you. They don't want the fertile water to flow into other people's fields. So, they did something on the way to Hadong City. Anyone who came to bid was scared away by them. But this time, they met someone even more ruthless. They brought hundreds of people with them. They even used guns and beat up all of them. Now, Kong Zhong is slightly injured and lying in the hospital. What about Lu Feng and Dan Hongning? Su Yun asked calmly. It was not difficult for him to guess what had happened. After all, the 3 tigers of Nanqing were local bullies. They certainly did not want the fertile water of Hadong City to be taken away by people from other cities. It was normal for them to play some tricks. However, someone from other cities was so ruthless that he could bring people here and settle the matter. He was definitely a ruthless person. They are both under investigation. They are only slightly injured. Qin Wan-er's words made Su Yun feel relieved. Ruan Qingshuang didn't have such a big heart. She sighed again and said, this time, 2 people were killed. They were both little brothers who were on good terms with Lu Feng. I'm actually quite worried about Lu Feng's mood. Hearing Sister Qingshuang's words, LV Wenyi could not help but sigh. This time, her cousin's matter was really big. As long as they are fine. Su Yun asked Qin Wan-er, do you have any clues? Who did it? I really don't have a clue. Qin Wan-er shook her head helplessly. This time, there were dozens of people who wanted to bid. They were all stopped and threatened by the 3 tigers of Nanqing. In short, they have offended too many people. It is not easy to investigate. Those people did not leave any evidence. The cars that came had license plates from different areas. They probably all used fake license plates. They did not leave any useful clues. Su Yun had experienced so many things. Even if this was not a small matter, he was still calm. It was good that the 3 tigers of Nanqing were fine. The person who can do this is definitely not a simple person. Don't worry about it. If we rely on you to solve this case, you will never be able to solve it. Even if you find some clues, you will not be able to catch the real mastermind. At most, you will find a scapegoat. Then what do you think we should do? Qin Wan heard Su Yun pouring cold water on her. She was a little angry. If we can't find out, then don't investigate. Then why do we still need the police? We are funded by the government and the taxpayers' money. Now that this kind of thing has happened, if we don't investigate, then we are not doing anything. You make it sound so simple. Su Yun smiled. Then don't blame me for being blunt. Do you think that if you investigate the case and catch people, then you are worthy of your salary? How many people you catch are scapegoats? If I tell you, I'm afraid you won't believe it. How many people you know are scapegoats, but you still want to catch them to solve the case? I don't need to say this. You know it very well. Qin Wan said anxiously, no matter what, they are caught. The scapegoats are also the bad guys. At least someone will come out and take legal responsibility for what they have done. You are distorting the law. The law punishes the real bad guys, Su Yun said. If the scapegoats are punished, the real criminals will still break the law. Do you understand? So, what we have to catch is the root cause. Of course, I know that we have to catch the root cause. Aren't we investigating now? Why don't you do it? Qin Wan wasn't being childish like Su Yun. She was just annoyed by all the cases she had to deal with. Su Yun smiled slightly. Of course, I won't let go of the people who hurt my brother. Even if Lu Feng and the others were wrong in this matter, they were at most threatening. The other party hit them, and they were so ruthless. That was their fault. Playing with guns is illegal. But I am not a policeman. If they fall into your hands, they are lucky. If they fall into my hands, I won't be so nice. You. Chin Wana was stunned and then said, "It's okay if they fall into your hands, as long as they pay the price." Police Officer Chin can say such a thing? Su Yun was really a little surprised. This was not Chin Wan-er's style. Why did Chin Wan-er's tone sound like she hated those who hurt her brother more than she hated him? Wan-er, did you take the wrong medicine today? Su Yun teased her. Ruan Qingshuang quickly explained the doubts in Su Yun's heart. It's actually like this. The planning of the artificial lake and the investment to improve the current situation of the artificial lake were proposed by Wan-er's father, Uncle Chin. His original intention was good. He wanted to stimulate the economy of Hadong City. Everyone knows that Hadong City's economy mostly depends on tourism. After all, it is an ancient city. However, Taizhou City, which is 100 kilometers away from us, has the 5 mountains. Many tourists choose to spend a day in Hadong City and then rush to Taizhou City to watch the sunrise on Taizhou Mountain. Because the two tourist cities are so close to each other, a large number of tourists from Hadong City have left for Taizhou City. Su Yun and everyone listened carefully. What she said made sense. If all the tourists could stay in Hadong City, he would not have to worry about having empty rooms even if he doubled the price of the hotel rooms. So, Uncle Chin proposed to the city to do some construction around the artificial lake to keep the tourists. That's why the investment for this project came about. Because of the investment for this project, there was a gunfight a few days ago. Ruan Qingshuang continued. Now, Secretary Feng is using this incident to frame Uncle Chin. That's why Wan-er is in a bad mood. Su Yun, do you understand? Of course. That Feng guy is asking for a beating again. Su Yun sneered. Since Uncle Chin proposed such a good project, we must not let this project go to waste. Is that Feng guy trying to stop this project? Chin Wan-er nodded. That's right. If that's the case, this incident will not affect my father's performance, and it will be his downfall because of this incident. If someone were to talk about what Mayor Chin did in Hadong City in the future, the people would say that he didn't do anything. Instead, he caused a shooting and made everyone panic. Haha, if a government official leaves such a bad impression in the hearts of the people, who wouldn't feel bad? All right, I understand everything you've said. Su Yun smiled. Don't worry. I will not let that phone guy interrupt this project. You also tell Uncle Chin that I, Su Yun, was not at home a few days ago. Now that I, Su Yun, am back, tell him not to worry. If he can propose such a good project for the people of Hadong City, I will support him. Chin Wan-er had been feeling uncomfortable for the past few days. She finally felt better. She did not know why, but when she saw Su Yun and heard what Su Yun said, she felt there was hope. She had thought there was no hope for this project before. Since Brother Yun said so, Officer Chin, you can rest assured. Chong grinned. Now that Su Yun was back, Chin Wan's back must be straightened. Chong, let's go. Take me to the hospital to see Kong Zhong. Su Yun said to Chin Wan-er. I will contact you later. Take me to see Lu Feng and Dan Jiahao. Chapter 313. Wu Yuandong once again drove north on the highway back to Jibei City. Ling Jiling, who was sitting in the back of the car, felt a little uneasy. Until now, Presidents still did not know that Su Yun would not go back with her and Wu Yuandong today. Should she tell President Wu the truth when she explained later? Although Su Yun did not seem to avoid the fact that he owned a hotel in Hadong City, Ling Jiling felt that she should try her best to avoid this problem. The road from Hadong City to Jibei City spanned from north to south across Jiangbei Province. It was considered the middle point between Jiangnan Province and Suong. Therefore, Wu Yuandong rushed back without stopping. Finally, he slowly drove the car into the building of Jibei Entertainment Group before 5 o'clock. Miss Ling, you go up first. I'll park the car in the basement. After Wu Yuandong parked the car, he informed Ling Jiling. Ling Jiling took a few deep breaths, then nodded firmly and got out of the car. Seeing Ling Jiling come back, everyone, from the security guards at the door to the reception manager in the lobby, greeted her. Of course, the reception manager in the lobby was very curious why the mysterious handsome man did not come back with Ling Jiling. However, she saw that Ling Jiling was in a hurry to go to President Zhu's office, so she did not ask any more questions. After Ling Jiling got into the elevator, she went directly to Zhu Meiyan's office on the top floor. When the president's assistant, Li Sisi, saw Ling Jiling, she immediately went up to her and said, "Miss Ling, President Zhu has been waiting for you for a long time." As she spoke, she looked behind her and saw that Ling Jiling was alone. She looked a little confused, but she still extended her hand and invited Ling Jiling into the office. "President Zhu." Ling Jiling lightly knocked on the door and walked in. In the office, Zhu Meiyan and Feng Ying were chatting. When they saw Ling Jiling come in, Zhu Meiyan was in a good mood. "You're finally back. I was just about to call Wu Yuandong to ask where you are." At that moment, Ling Jiling closed the door to the office. Zhu Meiyan was stunned. "Alone?" Zhu Meiyan finally asked the question that Li Sisi had not asked. "Where's Su Yun? Didn't he come up with you?" Feng Ying seemed to realize something. She was already holding her phone in her hand, ready to call and cancel the hotel that Zhu Meiyan had asked her to book. "Director Zhu, Su. No, the Crown Prince has something else to do, so he didn't return to Ji Bay with us." Ling Jiling said awkwardly, "He said he would call you to explain, so we didn't dare to ask too much." Zhu Meiyan's heart sank. She let out a long sigh. "He didn't return to the northern meadows with you? Then where did he go? That little brat at the Tangkor needs him to help her do something big to stabilize her foundation. How could he not come back just because he said he wouldn't?" This. Ling Jiling was stunned. At this time, Feng Ying had already dialed a number. She got up and walked to the huge floor-to-ceiling window. The call was quickly connected. "Hello, I'm Feng Ying from the Tang Corporation. I'm sorry, but please help me return the table of food I just booked. The guest can't come today. Thank you, sorry to trouble you." Of course, Zhu Meiyan could hear Feng Ying on the phone. Feng Ying knew her very well and knew who she had booked the hotel for. Now that Su Yun wasn't coming, she wasn't in the mood to go. "You don't need to tell me where he went." Zhu Meiyan nodded thoughtfully. She then said to Feng Ying, "Sister Feng Ying, can you go out for a moment? I have something to discuss with Ling Jiling alone." "Okay." Feng Ying nodded. Although Zhu Meiyan wasn't going to hold a welcoming dinner for Ling Jiling today, Ling Jiling was still someone that Zhang Taisui had promoted. Therefore, she had to give her some face. "Ling Jiling, I'll treat you to Haidaleo later. How about it?" Ling Jiling looked at Feng Ying gratefully. "Thank you, Sister Feng Ying." After saying that, Feng Ying patted Zhu Meiyan's shoulder again. "You should know what kind of personality your crown prince has. Don't make things difficult for Jiling. Her words don't have much power in front of him. If you can't stop her, do you still expect Jiling to force her to stay?" "I know." Zhu Meiyan glanced to the side and urged, Okay. Hurry up and go." Feng Ying was the secretary of Sky Entertainment Group, but in everyone's eyes, she was a big sister. Zhu Meiyan had always been grateful to Feng Ying for taking care of her. When she was helpless, Feng Ying had always helped her through difficult times. "Let's go." Zhu Meiyan walked to the door. She didn't forget to remind Ling Jiling, "Remember to eat Haidaleo with me tonight." Ling Jiling smiled as she watched Feng Ying leave Zhu Meiyan's office. Feng Ying had just stepped out of the door when Zhu Meiyan said, "Ling Jiling, I know you know where Su Yun is right now, but I won't make things difficult for you. Since he said he would call me to explain, I believe he will do it. I'll wait for his call. It's been hard on you this time. Just now, I was a bit emotional. I hope you can understand. Relax with Big Sister Feng Ying tonight. I actually want to go with you, but I'm a bit tired." Ling Jiling knew very well that although they often looked like sisters, in terms of status, there was still a difference between a boss and an artist. No matter how A-list she was, no matter how famous she was, Zhuo Meiyan was still her boss. It was her boss who packaged her that made her who she was today. This logic was actually very simple. Many people could understand it. President Zhuo, I admit that I do know where the Crown Prince is right now, but it's better for him to explain to you himself. There are some things that I don't know, so I won't explain, Ling Zhiling said bluntly. Ling Zhiling, do you know why I arranged for Su Yun to film this commercial with you? Zhuo Meiyan said calmly, if I tell you, I hope you won't be angry at me. I just thought of it and then did it. Now that I think about it, I've let you down. Ling Zhiling paused. She didn't understand why Zhuo Meiyan would say this. President Zhuo, what do you mean? Did you know that before my master passed away, Sky Entertainment decided to make you into a goddess in Huaxia and an idol in women's hearts? Zhuo Meiyan said, why did Sky Entertainment do this instead of spending more money on Bing Bing? It's because your positions are different. You're a woman's idol, a goddess in the eyes of otakus, while Bing Bing is a woman's public enemy, a vixen in the eyes of otakus. Ling Zhiling knew all of this. Her relationship with Bing Bing wasn't something that could be explained in a few words. Actually, for this commercial, they were looking for Bing Bing. They liked Bing Bing's charm, that kind of seduction. But in the end, I convinced Mr. Isolde to recommend you. Zhuo Meiyan said indifferently, I've already arranged everything from the start. I've already decided to let Su Yun handle this matter. That's why I strongly recommended you. If it wasn't for Su Yun, I would have arranged for Bing Bing to do this commercial. Ling Zhiling was startled. Why? Why do you want me to partner with the Crown Prince? Zhuo Meiyan said calmly, because Bing Bing gives men the impression that she's too seductive, and she's too direct. Although Bing Bing sometimes goes overboard, it's also because of her straightforward personality. But you're different. You're more scheming than her, and you don't do things so directly. Your femininity isn't seductive, but it's more seductive than her straightforward seduction. Hearing this, Ling Zhiling seemed to understand Zhuo Meiyan's intentions. She had deliberately arranged for Su Yun to be with her. Although Zhuo Meiyan hadn't said her intentions, Ling Zhiling already knew that it was terrifying. She knew that Zhuo Meiyan liked Su Yun, but she still deliberately arranged for them to be together. Just thinking about it made her tremble. Director Zhuo, you actually arranged for me to seduce Su Yun? Ling Zhiling couldn't help but ask. Yes. Zhuo Meiyan actually nodded and didn't deny the truth. That's what I was thinking, because I knew that you wouldn't do it too obviously. Zhiling, you've been popular in the entertainment industry for so many years. If there's such a good opportunity to rise up, based on my understanding of you, you wouldn't miss it. So I believe that you'll do everything in your power to make Su Yun fall in love with you. Ling Zhiling stared at Zhuo Meiyan with wide eyes. Why would you do this? Director Zhuo, why did you set this up? Didn't you think of the consequences? If something really happened between me and Su Yun, you'll definitely regret it. If you say that, then it means that I made the right bet. Nothing happened between you and Su Yun, Zhuo Meiyan said calmly. Zhuo Meiyan said indifferently, it's because I believe in Su Yun's willpower that I let you do this experiment. I know very well why he didn't do anything to you. It must be because he has someone in his heart, but that person is definitely not me. Director Zhuo, you really shouldn't have done this. It was reasonable for Ling Zhiling to be angry. This is a form of harm to me and the Crown Prince. I really can't calm down after what you've done. I'm sorry, Director Zhuo, I think I'll leave first. Ling Zhiling stood up and left after speaking. Although Zhuo Meiyan had the right to tell her to stop, she didn't do so. She seemed to have realized her mistake. Ling Zhiling had just walked out of the office when Feng Ying grabbed her hand. Zhiling, sometimes Meiyan does things selfishly, but this wasn't her intention. If you know her past, you'll understand why she did this. Of course, this is her fault. Before you came back, she talked to me and I criticized her. She also knows that she went overboard. Sister Feng Ying. Ling Zhiling felt wronged. She felt like she was a chess piece. Even if Zhuo Meiyan was the boss, she didn't have the right to do this. Chapter 3:14. After returning to Hadong City, Su Yun rested for half a day. He did not rest for the whole afternoon. First, he went to the hospital to see Kong Zheng, who was injured. His injury was not serious, but it was not light either. Su Yun asked him about the situation and told him to rest well. Then, he contacted Qin Wan and asked her to arrange for him to meet Lu Feng and Dan Hongning. Although they were the victims of this incident, after investigation, it was found that they wanted to control the bidders from other cities by threatening them. Therefore, it was normal for Qin Wan to selflessly bring them to the police station to reflect on themselves. Dan Hongning burst into tears when he saw Su Yun. "Big brother Yun, you're finally back. Hurry up and plead with Officer Qin. We're all on the same side. If there's anything, can't we investigate it anywhere? She left us at the station for 2 days. At least let us go home and change into a new pair of underwear and socks. Besides, we're also victims." Compared to Dan Hongning's grumbling the moment they met, LV Feng reflected on himself more deeply. "Brother Yun, this is all my fault. I know I was wrong. I was the one who instigated Xiaodan and Kong Zheng to do this with me. I just didn't want the fertile water to flow to an outsider. Lu Feng, I heard that the person in charge of this matter is Mayor Qin. Do you think that with our relationship with Mayor Qin, we can compete with the bidders from other cities?" Su Yun said, "It's such a simple thing. Why can't you figure it out?" "Brother Yun, of course I have thought about such a simple thing. After all, I am a man of society. I know this." Lu Feng shook his head helplessly. "Alas, I don't want to talk about it. I have been in society for so many years, but I have never seen such an honest official like Mayor Qin." Su Yun was stunned. "What do you mean?" Dan Hongning sighed. "Sigh, brother Yun, you won't believe me even if I tell you. The two of us brought money and gifts to the municipal party secretary Feng Guoqing's house. In the end, Feng Guoqing left the things and money behind and told us that this project was proposed by Mayor Qin and that we should look for Mayor Qin. It was useless to tell him about this. At that time, we thought that with our relationship with Mayor Qin, we would definitely have a 100% advantage. But we didn't know that Mayor Qin was so stubborn. After Feng Zi and I asked Officer Qin for Mayor Qin's address, we took 200,000 yuan and went there. In the end, Mayor Qin's expression changed when we brought it up. I thought it was because we didn't take the money first. In the end, when I asked Feng Zi to push the money in front of Mayor Qin, he immediately turned hostile and told us to take the money and leave." Hearing Dan Hongning's words, Su Yun understood what he meant. He raised his hand and hit the back of Dan Hongning's head. "I say, have you two been kicked in the head by a donkey? Aren't you looking for trouble? Don't you know what kind of person Mayor Qin is? When Chong's house was being demolished, didn't Mayor Qin always think of the people? Do you think he's the same as that Feng guy? And it was Feng Guoqing who told you to look for Mayor Qin. Isn't it obvious that he wants you to set a trap for Mayor Qin? You are harming Mayor Qin." "Brother Yun, what do you mean? What do you mean by harming Mayor Qin?" "We are sincerely giving him money." Dan Hongning didn't understand. Lu Feng was also a little anxious. "Yes, brother Yun, you are saying that we are colluding with Feng Guoqing to do something bad. I don't feel comfortable listening to it. We know that Mayor Qin is in charge of this, so we are very happy. We are happy to give money to Mayor Qin, unlike giving money to Feng Guoqing. It feels like we are feeding a dog. How can Feng Guoqing have good intentions?" Su Yun knew that these two people didn't have bad intentions, so he said lightly, "Since he knows that you went to Mayor Qin, then he will definitely not miss this good opportunity. He will definitely use this matter to instruct the Discipline Inspection and Supervision Department to find trouble with Mayor Qin. If Mayor Qin takes your money, then Feng Guoqing will seize the opportunity to label him as a corrupt person. What does this label mean to them? You are all grown up, so you should know, right?" "Oh." Lu Feng and Dan Hongning suddenly understood. "So that's why. Feng Guoqing, that bastard, is really vicious." Su Yun waved his hand. "Forget it. Mayor Qin didn't take your money anyway. You can stay here and reflect on your actions. Brother Yun, you didn't come here to get us out. Dan Hongning's face was longer than a donkey's. Brother Yun, I beg you to say good things to Officer Chin. We have already said good things. It's really... Sigh. Su Yun shrugged helplessly. You know Chin Wan-er's bad temper. Do you think it's useful for me to say this? If she took me seriously, then she wouldn't have locked you up for 2 days. As soon as Su Yun finished speaking, Chin Wan-er broke in. Su Yun, who are you calling a bad temper? Okay, I just went to apply for their release. Since you said so, then I won't let them go. My dear aunt. Lu Feng was excited when he heard that he could finally get out. He had delayed a lot of things in the past 2 days. When he thought that he could get out, he felt comfortable. Dan Hongning flattered her even more. Officer Chin, you're really the most beautiful police officer I've ever seen in this world. And you're so kind-hearted and considerate. You know that we're also victims, so you helped us. I'm really grateful. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Go out and fill in the form. We will summon you at any time. You have to cooperate with our work at any time. Understand? Chin Wan-er shouted. Yes. The two nodded like chickens eating rice. Seeing that the two were busy filling in the release form, Su Yun smiled and said to Chin Wan-er, thank you. What are you thanking me for? I am just a donkey, okay? Hurry up and leave with your men. Su Yun, I can tell you that I can understand their mistakes because you were not in Hadong. But today you are back, so I will tell you clearly. If they do this again, don't blame me for dealing with you. Chin Wan-er said very seriously. Also, don't involve my father in the matter of the land around the artificial river. Otherwise, I will really fall out with you. Su Yun was also very helpless. But it was Feng Guoqing who forced Uncle Chin to do this. Uncle Chin is already involved with the land around the artificial lake. As long as I intervene in this matter, I will definitely have contact with Uncle Chin. But don't worry, I promise you that I won't bring any trouble to Uncle Chin, and I'll even help him do it beautifully. Is that okay? I will not only not bring trouble to Uncle Chin, but also make the transformation of the artificial lake a great achievement for him in Hadong City. What do you think? I have said so you should be relieved, right? Chin Wan-er really couldn't believe it. Now, the artificial lake was really a problem in her eyes. Now, it was because of the accident. However, after this incident passed, the city would definitely continue to use that land to attract investment. At that time, everyone would know that her father was the person in charge of this matter. She estimated that people would try their best to find connections and send gifts. When she thought of her father's temper, he would definitely offend a lot of people because he didn't accept bribes. Are you serious? Chin Wan-er still had a certain amount of trust in Su Yun. Don't worry. Su Yun nodded. Okay, I will not bother you. I will leave first. Call Uncle Chin tonight and tell him that I invited him to the hotel for a drink. Chin Wan-er rolled her eyes at Su Yun. Government officials can't casually invite people to dinner after work. Now this problem is strictly investigated. Are you trying to harm my father? That's why I asked you to call him. It's not a problem to have dinner with your own family. Su Yun waved his hand and walked out of the room. At this time, Lu Feng and Dan Hongning had also finished filling out the forms and hurriedly said goodbye to Chin Wan-er. Chong was waiting for them in the car outside. When he saw that the two of them were finally released, he was exultant. After being wronged in the police station for 2 days, the two brothers really decided to go home and have a good drink. After Su Yun got in the car, he looked at the time and felt that it was about time. With Wu Yuendong's speed, he and Ling Jiling should be almost back in Jibei City to meet Zhuo Meiyan. Therefore, Su Yun made a gesture to indicate that the three of them should not talk too much. Then, he dialed Zhuo Meiyan's cell phone number. When the three of them saw that Brother Yun was calling, they did not dare to talk nonsense. They all shut up. Chong seriously drove Su Yun back to the hotel. Ling Jiling had just left the office when Zhuo Meiyan received a call from Su Yun. She knew that Su Yun had always been very careful with his calculation of time. Zhuo Meiyan did not hesitate and picked up the phone. "Baby, why didn't you call me earlier if you were not coming back? Didn't you know that I would prepare your favorite red wine to welcome you back? There will be plenty of opportunities to drink wine in the future. I had some things to deal with, so I did not return to Jibei City. You didn't make things difficult for Sister Jiling, right?" Su Yun asked and answered his own question. "Forget it. With your personality, I guess you would have made things difficult for her. I didn't call you before because I was afraid that I would add fuel to the fire and make things even more difficult for her. You still know me well." Zhuo Meiyan smiled helplessly. "All right, you win. You guessed it right. But don't worry. With Sister Feng Ying around, do you think I would go overboard? Don't worry about your Sister Jiling. She has already gone to eat Heidaleo with Sister Feng Ying. All right, all of you have company now. I'm the only one who's all alone. All of you are heartless." Su Yun smiled helplessly. "I will definitely make it up to you. Isn't your brother with you?" Chapter 315. As soon as Su Yun hung up the phone, Chong and the other two were in an uproar in the car. They all wondered who was on the other end of the phone. Calling him baby? Wasn't that a bit too ambiguous? Su Yun begged for mercy and glared at them, but he couldn't stop the three guys from making wild guesses. Originally, Lu Feng and Dan Hongning had finally been released from the police station. They wanted to drag Kong Zhong out of the hospital and have a drink with Su Yun at the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. However, Su Yun refused. He wanted to invite Qin Zhongming to dinner in the afternoon. Qin Zhongming probably didn't want to see Lu Feng and the others at this time, so he didn't want them to disturb them. Besides, ever since Su Yun left Hadong City last time, he hadn't had a proper meal with Ruan Qingshuang and the others for many days. Tonight, he didn't want Chong and the others to join in. After all, their meal always had the theme of toasting. It was impossible for them to talk about their daily lives. After Chong drove to the hotel and dropped off Su Yun, he left with Lu Feng and Dan Hongning. Brother Yun wasn't in the mood to drink today, but they were. The three of them immediately drove straight to the hospital and dragged Kong Zhong out by force. During this period of time, the weather had turned cold. The medicinal cuisine hot pot that Ruan Qingshuang had been researching was now in the experimental stage under Liangshan's practice. Dan Hongning had a special liking for this hot pot. His branch was the experimental base of the medicinal cuisine hot pot, so they had already thought about what to eat. They wanted to eat more nutritious food to nourish Kong Zhong, who was hospitalized. After Su Yun returned to the hotel, he found that the overall quality of the security guards had improved considerably. It seemed that Dan Jiahao was still very attentive to his words. This was worthy of praise. Who would have thought that this kid would actually have some standards when he didn't go to school and came out to mingle in society? As soon as he entered the hotel lobby, Su Yun heard the coquettish voices of Guagua, Ruan Qingshuang, and Chou Yun. Seeing that Su Yun had returned, Guagua immediately rushed into Su Yun's arms. She hadn't acted coquettishly with Su Yun for a long time. Guagua really missed it. "Daddy, do you know how to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?" Guagua raised her head and asked. It was probably because she had been watching too much of the Celebrity Parent-Child Travel and Survival Experience show on Mango TV. She had listened to the theme song many times, so she had picked it up. Su Yun had also watched the show a few times. He remembered that his father was about to answer, so he imitated him and said, "You sang out of tune." Guagua's face sank. She said with a frown, "I haven't sung yet." "You said the wrong line. You should have answered, no first. Then you can say that I'm out of tune after I sing." Ruan Qingshuang helplessly came over and carried Guagua. "Guagua, this is the hotel lobby. There are so many people here. You're already a big child. Do you think this is appropriate? This is not good." Guagua pouted and looked unhappy. "I also want to experience wilderness survival with Daddy." "Guagua, Daddy promises you. If there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely take you to experience what wilderness survival is, okay? In order to make Guagua happy, Su Yun had to find a way to tease her. Let's go to the Amazon rainforest. That's really fun. Really? Guagua stopped crying when she heard this. Pinky promise. After Su Yun and Guagua did the pinky promise, he saw Cho Yun waving at him and asking him to go over. Then, he handed Guagua to RuanQingshuang before walking towards Cho Yun. Cho Yun looked a little worried. We've already left Suong for more than 10 hours. I'm worried that Green Ghost. If Green Ghost really comes, I'm afraid he'll be here when we wake up at noon. Su Yun was very confident in his judgment. I'm afraid Green Ghost isn't thinking about us now. If I'm not wrong, he should have gone to ask someone for help. Hearing Su Yun's words, Cho Yun was even more worried. You mean, Green Ghost will go to the Netherworld King for help? It's possible. Su Yun nodded and said, if the Netherworld King really helps him, I already have a way to lure them away. Don't worry about that. But I feel that it might be difficult for Green Ghost to get the Netherworld King's help. At most, he'll complain about me. I won't lose anything. Cho Yun was stunned for a long time before saying, aren't you afraid of being blacklisted by Leng Chen? Su Yun nodded. What's the use of being afraid? If I'm afraid of everything, I really can't offend anyone. If I have to endure anyone's anger, what's the point of life? Hee, don't worry. Trust me, Green Ghost won't dare to attack us rashly now. He'll definitely consider the home and away issues, right? Suong is his home ground. Even I can give him a head-on blow. If he really comes to Hadong to find trouble with us, he'll have to consider how the 3 experts he sent died. Green Ghost has his concerns too. Otherwise, he would have done it long ago. Su Yun had considered all of this before. That was why he let Wu Yuandong rest here for the whole morning. Wu Yuandong also understood why Su Yun wanted him to rest. Even if he didn't sleep, Wu Yuandong could drive for a few more hours without a problem. It was because Su Yun considered that Green Ghost might chase after them that he let Wu Yuandong stay in Hadong City for a few hours. That way, even if Green Ghost came, with a super expert like Su Yun and Cho Yun and Wu Yuandong helping, it would be difficult for Green Ghost to gain an advantage. The whole morning was peaceful. At noon, Su Yun and Wu Yuandong were basically sure that Green Ghost wouldn't appear again, so Wu Yuandong said goodbye. I understand. Cho Yun seemed to understand why Wu Yuandong slept in Hadong City for the whole morning. Then I also think that we should be careful. I understand. Su Yun nodded. Well, since everyone is back safely, let's not talk about those disappointing things. Guagua may be a little emotional these days. A child suddenly has too much to bear. I didn't expect Chao Nanshan to reveal so many secrets. These days, pay more attention to Guagua's mood. Instead of worrying about Green Ghost's revenge, I think we should be more concerned about Guagua. Cho Yun knew what Su Yun meant. She didn't expect that a man could be more careful than her. Guagua got lost with her last time, and by some strange combination of circumstances, she found this amazing father. Was it really God's will? About half an hour later, Qin Wan came back from work. When she saw Su Yun, she snapped her fingers. My dad is in a meeting. He will come over for dinner in a while. He said that he hasn't seen you for a long time and wants to see you. He wants you to drink with him. I knew Uncle Qin would want me to drink with him. Su Yun grinned. Don't worry, no problem. I will definitely drink with Uncle Qin and make him forget all the troubles these days. Qin Weiner was puzzled. These days, when she called her father, he was in a bad mood. Even when she asked him to go out for dinner, he refused. Why did her father suddenly change when she mentioned Su Yun's name? He didn't even use the meeting as an excuse and agreed to go out for dinner. Su Yun, you're quite influential. My dad has been so busy recently that I couldn't even invite him. Now that you're back, he actually agreed so readily. I don't even know if you fed him some kind of bewitching potion. Qin Weiner rolled her eyes and said, Fine. I don't care about you guys. But I have to remind you, don't mention the artificial river during dinner. That's what he's most annoyed about. I guess the city council will put pressure on him during the meeting today. If you want him to be happy tonight, don't mention it. Su Yun nodded with a smile. He wouldn't bring it up, but he believed that Qin Zhongming would take the initiative to tell him. Usually, Qin Zhongming didn't want to talk about these troubles with Qin Wan because he knew that even if he told them, they would only be annoyed and helpless. However, it was different to talk to Su Yun. Su Yun was a man who could take responsibility. If he talked to Su Yun about these things, he would get help from Su Yun. Even if it was just a word of advice, it would make Qin Zhongming feel relieved. At this time, Ruan Qingshuang came to them and said, "Come here, you two. Go to the kitchen and have a look at the medicinal hot pot newly developed by Liangshan and me. It has been made in Xiao Dan's branch for 3 days. The market feedback is good. I heard that there will be repeat customers on the 3rd day. We have to see it. Now the weather is starting to cool down. Maybe this medicinal hot pot will set off a new trend of eating in winter in Hadong." Su Yun immediately nodded and praised. This idea was really good. Originally, winter was the season for hot pot, but now, eating too much hot pot made one heady. Moreover, some restaurants had adulterated the beef and mutton in order to save costs. Therefore, the reputation in the entire market was not very good. If medicinal hot pot focused on health, although it was still beef and mutton, with the addition of the medicinal formula, the effect would definitely not be bad. Then, with the selection of exquisite beef and mutton, the effect would definitely not be bad. Nowadays, people didn't lack money when they went out to eat. As long as the food was authentic, they could accept a higher price. If you ate real beef and mutton for 100 yuan, and a bunch of fake beef and mutton for 50 yuan, which would you choose? Of course, it would be the former. Su Yun and Qin Wan immediately went to the kitchen according to Ruan Qingshuang's instructions. Qin Wan didn't know much about cooking, but some of Su Yun's suggestions were very effective. For example, the soup base. If they directly used the Chinese ginseng and dendrobium lean meat soup or grass stone silkworm quail soup as the base, they could totally make a special hot pot. At most, they just needed to add more ingredients and water to the hot pot. For Su Yun's super simple but brilliant suggestion, Liangshan couldn't help but clap his hands and praise Brother Yun's brain. How about this? Let's make the grass stone silkworm quail soup as the base and try it tonight. Qin Wan-er's practical suggestion was immediately approved by everyone. They all wanted to taste what it would taste like. Chapter 3:16. Guagua looked at Qin Wan expectantly and said, "Sister Wan, don't you have a friend in the TV station? Ask her to report on our medicinal hot pot. If it makes the headlines in Hadong City, it will definitely be very popular." Headlines, my ass. Do you think you are Teacher Wang in the entertainment industry? You can't even make the headlines with an international stamp. Qin Wan was speechless and said, "My friend has been transferred away, so don't expect her to help you make the headlines. You have to rely on yourself." Su Yun looked at Guagua with a helpless smile and said, "Let's not talk about the headlines. During this time, the artificial lake project will occupy the headlines in Hadong City. So, if Guagua wants to make the headlines, wait until the project is over." Qin Wan stared at Su Yun and said, "Didn't I tell you not to talk about this? When my dad comes later, you can't let it slip. Do you understand?" "What can't slip?" After Qin Wan finished lecturing Su Yun, Qin Zhongming came to the kitchen. After the meeting, he took a taxi to the Medicinal Hot Pot Hotel. When Dan Jiahao saw him, he quickly told him that Qin Wan and the others were in the kitchen. Qin Zhongming was not an outsider. After all, Qin Wan had shares from Guagua. So, no one stopped him when he walked into the kitchen. "Uncle Qin, you are here. Come on, let's go out first. The smell of smoke here is very strong. It is not suitable for you to come here." Ruan Qingshuang hurriedly asked everyone to leave. "What's the big deal? This little bit of smoke is nothing. When I was young, I used to cook a big pot on a mud brick stove at home. The smoke was the real deal, Qin Zhongming said amiably, then looked at Su Yun. Su Yun smiled and said, Uncle Qin, what do you think about the medicinal hot pot today? Sister Shuang and our chef, Liang Shan, just developed it. Nodding his head, Qin Zhongming affirmed, the food that you guys recommend definitely can't be wrong. Ha ha ha, I often hear that many people are eating medicinal cuisine in the office. You guys have opened so many branches, and your business is so popular. There must be a reason why you guys are so delicious. Medicinal hot pot? Hee hee, it sounds like it's both nourishing and appetizing. Come on, Dad. If you praise us again, we'll fly into the sky. Qin Wan was speechless. In her father's eyes, everything Su Yun said was good, and everything he did was reasonable. Her father believed him too blindly. Guagua sensibly pulled Qin Zhongming out. Oh, you all call him uncle, so I can't call him that. Uncle Qin is so young. I can't call him grandpa, right? Uncle Qin, let's go out. You are the mayor. It's embarrassing for you to stay here. Let's go out. Hearing that Guagua was so good at chatting, everyone couldn't help but laugh. Obviously, Guagua always called people whatever she thought was appropriate. She didn't care about seniority. Otherwise, she wouldn't call Ruan Qingshuang mom and Qin Wan sister. According to the way she called Qin Wan it was not wrong to call Qin Zhongming uncle. However, Su Yun and Ruan Qingshuang, as their parents, had to call him uncle. After Ruan Qingshuang told Liang Shan, she urged everyone to leave the kitchen and go to the room to drink tea. There were no outsiders today. It was a welcome for Su Yun, and also for her and Guagua to calm down. Of course, they didn't mention anything about what happened to her, Guagua, and Cho Yun in Suong. When LV Wenny led the waiter to serve the medicinal hot pot made by Liang Shan, everyone couldn't help but exclaim. The delicious taste was amazing. It was really amazing. Su Yun immediately opened the lid and poured wine. Uncle Qin, it's cold. Do you want something high? Although this stuffy donkey has a high alcohol content, I think the taste is not bad. Qin Wan stared at him. Su Yun, what are you doing? This is 68% alcohol. My father is not like you young people. He will definitely get drunk if he drinks such a high alcohol content. Are you all right? If I'm okay, I'll eat some plum. Guagua continued. Su Yun didn't care about her nagging and filled her own cup to the brim. You haven't even gotten married and you haven't even given birth to a child. How can you be so naggy like an auntie? If you marry someone who drinks every day, you'll definitely become a grumbling wife within 3 months. I'm willing to be a grumbling wife. Qin Wan snorted. When Qin Zhongming heard that the wine had 68% alcohol content, he was a little confused. Su Yun, isn't the alcohol content too high? Then I'll say it first. I'll only have 1 cup. I won't drink any more. It can't be lowered to such a high alcohol content. We're eating as a family. There's no need to be so particular. Uncle Qin, drink as much as you can. Even if you can't drink it, it's okay to leave the rest. Su Yun smiled. I just feel that it's a waste to eat such a good hot pot without some high alcohol content. Just as everyone was chatting, LV Wenny's voice came from outside the room. I'm sorry. Our boss's family is eating inside. You can't disturb. Hey, how can you be like this? You can't go in. However, no matter how LV Wenny tried to stop them, the door was directly pushed open. Then, there were flashes of light. Someone at the door took a lot of photos. This really made Su Yun and the others confused. Guagua opened her eyes wide and looked at the person with the camera. She thought to herself, are they really reporters who want to help us make the headlines? At this time, Dan Jiahao, who had heard the news, also came to the door. With his short temper, he wanted to order his subordinates to beat them. However, the person in front of him showed his work permit. We are from the Discipline Inspection Department. We received a report that Qin Zhongming, Mayor Qin, was holding a banquet with public funds. So, we came to investigate and collect evidence. If you don't cooperate with us, You are obstructing the government from enforcing the law. You will have to bear legal responsibility. This sentence blocked Dan Jiahao's anger. Why did he suddenly have to bear legal responsibility? Wasn't this a joke? If it was at the beginning, Dan Jiahao wouldn't care about the law. However, now that he had been educated to abide by the law, he finally became obedient. Ha 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 ha, this is too big of a misunderstanding. Su Yun smiled and stood up. Leaders of the Commission for Discipline Inspection, the relationship between us and Uncle Qin is not some kind of public banquet. Public banquets only exist within your government. We are not people from your public sector. So, there is absolutely no public banquet. This banquet is on Uncle Qin. The leader of the group, a balding man who looked to be in his 40s, said, "You can't do that, Qin Zhongming. You're a government official and the mayor of Hadong City. You're openly accepting a banquet outside. That's also a form of bribery. We received a report that someone wants to use your relationship to get the development project of Hadong City's artificial river, so I am his daughter, and he is my father. I am treating my father to a meal. What's wrong with having a meal with our own family?" Qin Wan was a little anxious when she heard this. These people were really touching the pot that didn't boil. Obviously, someone was deliberately framing her father. No one could say for sure what was going on in the government. Maybe someone would play dirty tricks behind your back and stab you in the back. The leader of the group was stunned. You are not that. Qin Wan I am Qin Wan from the Criminal Investigation Department of the City Police. I used to work in the Wenhui District Police Station. Qin Wan's words were sonorous and powerful. She didn't show any fear in front of the balding man. Qin Zhongming finally couldn't help but stand up. "You are Shao Qi from the Discipline Inspection Department, right? This is my daughter. I am just having a meal with my family after work. I'm afraid the Discipline Inspection Department can't do anything about it. Even if you don't say it, I can probably guess who reported me. For you to be able to appear on time, I'm afraid you were already prepared. Some things are like a layer of window paper. I won't break it. Everyone, let's just pretend that nothing happened today, okay?" The balding man sneered. "Thank you for your concern, Mayor Qin. You still remember my surname. That's right, I am Shao Qi from the Discipline Inspection Department. But how would I know if this is a layer of window paper? You said you were having a meal with your family. I don't think anyone would believe you. Do father and daughter need to have a meal in such a big hotel?" Mayor Qin, although I've only eaten a few meals outside, I've heard of this famous Hadong medicinal cuisine hotel. It's not cheap, right? And this room is too luxurious. Hee, who would believe that this is a simple meal? I am sorry, sir. I am the boss here. Officer Qin is my friend, so she has a discount. Ruan Qingshuang also stood up to help. "Mayor Qin, you have a lot of face. Even the boss's wife came to accompany you." The balding man clapped his hands. "Do you have anything else to say? If not, don't blame me for being blunt. It is obviously not a simple meal to come to such a prideful place. If you can't give a reasonable reason, don't blame us." Su Yun slammed the table. "Are you done?" The balding man was stunned. He stared at Qin Zhongming and said, "Do you know who I am? I work for the Discipline Inspection Department." "Then do you know who I am?" Su Yun didn't want to hear him reveal his title. "My name is Su Yun. I took this hotel from Lu Sheng." "Don't tell me you don't know?" The balding man was stunned. He finally saw the legendary Su Yun. Su Yun's story had been spread in Hadong City for a long time. Lu Shang was a fierce dragon that could suppress 4 local bullies, but in the end, he couldn't withstand Su Yun's attack. Therefore, Su Yun's ability was like a myth to many people in Hadong City. Of course, the balding man had heard of him, but this was the first time he had seen him. "You are Su Yun?" the balding man asked angrily. Guagua suddenly stood on the table and rolled her eyes. "Of course I am. Who would lie to you? Now that you know who I am, hurry up and get lost." If you disturb my Uncle Chin, I will teach you a lesson. Dan Jiahao, where are your people? Someone is causing trouble in the hotel. Why aren't you doing anything? Why did I hire you? Hearing that the little ancestor had given the order, Dan Jiahao and his subordinates rubbed their palms in anticipation. Chapter 317. Jiahao, take your men and go do what you need to do. I don't need you here. Although Su Yun wanted to give the balding man a good beating, if he were to hit a public servant in a public place, they wouldn't be able to justify it. Therefore, he didn't wish to blow up the matter. Guagua and Dan Jiahao were ignorant, but Su Yun wasn't an ignorant child. Dan Jiahao immediately replied, "Yes, Brother Yun." After that, he turned around and ordered the security guards to leave. He would never disobey Su Yun's orders. The balding man no longer dared to have any doubts. Looking at this person's aura and style, just a casual sentence from him was enough to make those fierce-looking youths, who were about to attack them, obediently do what they were supposed to do. Other than the legendary Su Yun, who else could it be? Sir, tell me, what kind of reason do you need to believe that this is just a meal between family members? Su Yun was still polite. If you don't know how to answer, then sit down and have a drink with me. Think about it carefully. I'll give you whatever reason you want. Is that okay? If you're still not satisfied, then I want to hear your reason. At the end, Su Yun glared at the balding man. He wanted the balding man to choose between a sweet date and a big slap. The balding man's aura was no longer as arrogant as before. The people behind him were also frightened by Dan Jiahao's aura. They all lowered their heads and didn't dare to look at Su Yun. It's like this, Mr. Su. I also need to do my job. Someone reported me, so I can't not investigate. If I don't come, then it's my negligence. Mayor Chin also understands the work of our department, so he will definitely understand. If this is a misunderstanding, then I won't bother you anymore. The balding man didn't want to offend Su Yun over such a small matter. He was just an ordinary civil servant. He couldn't afford to offend such a big boss. Don't go. This is really not a misunderstanding. I know your work needs, but we have to give you a reason to go back and report. Su Yun said, "Leader, you have to get a reason from me today. Even if you don't want it, you still have to, understand?" In the face of Su Yun's aggression, the balding man could only smile helplessly. Then let me ask, Mayor Chin, is there something important going on in your family that requires you to come to such a big hotel for a meal? Didn't I say that Officer Chin is my friend? I'll give her a discount if she comes to my restaurant. It's cheaper than going to a small hotel. Is that okay? Ruan Qingxuang, such a gentle person, had a temper. A good family dinner was interrupted by this person. How could she not be angry? The balding man nodded. Yes. Hee. You're right. That's a misunderstanding. We have something important to do, so of course we have to find a better place to eat. Guagua put her hands on her waist and pointed at Su Yun. My son-in-law is treating old Tai to a meal. What's wrong with finding a better place? This is called a scene. Don't you understand? He wants to pursue Uncle Chin's daughter. If he wants to treat Uncle Chin to a meal, do you think it's appropriate for him to go to a noodle restaurant? Guagua's words stunned her own people. Ruan Qingxuang opened her mouth wide. She suspected that Guagua had taken the wrong medicine. Qin Wan also opened her eyes wide. She thought, what is this damn girl talking about? Su Yun and Qin Zhoming looked at each other and sighed in their hearts. The only one who was calm was Cho Yun. At this critical moment, Cho Yun understood Guagua's thoughts. Oh! The balding man clasped his hands together and apologized. I'm sorry. Mayor Chin, please don't be offended. I've disturbed you on such an important matter. I'm sorry. Please be magnanimous. I'll go and find the guy who reported you and ask him what he's thinking. Oh, I'm sorry that I messed up this matter. Mayor Chin, please forgive me. Qin Zhongming waved his hand. Since it's a misunderstanding, let's forget about it. Xiao Qi, the city has regulations now. We can't be extravagant and wasteful. You can't eat here. The balding man hurriedly said, I don't dare. Mayor Qin, please enjoy your meal. Mr. Su, please excuse me. Please enjoy your meal. I'll go back first. I'm sorry, he said as he left the room. Guagua spat. Like a slave. When the balding man left with the people from the Commission for Discipline Inspection, everyone's eyes fell on Guagua. Qin Wan was the first to speak. Guagua, what nonsense were you talking about? What kind of idea did you come up with this time? Where did you learn this from? A son-in-law inviting an old man to a banquet? Sister Wan, you have to thank me, okay? I did it for a reason. Guagua said seriously. She was like a little adult. Listen to my analysis. What was the balding man's expression when he knew who my dad was? He was scared. Obviously, he knew how influential my dad was in Hadong. Now that he knows my dad is dating you and might become Uncle Qin's son-in-law, do you think he'll dare to say bad things about Uncle Qin? Of course not. Because if he says bad things about Uncle Qin, he's afraid that my dad will bring people to kill him. Guagua's words left everyone speechless. Where did this little demon come from? Ordinary adults wouldn't be able to consider so many things. What do you think? Do you have the feeling that listening to Guagua's words is better than studying for 10 years? Guagua was proud of herself. Everyone said in unison, yes. Su Yun was really impressed. He was right to recognize this daughter. Her character and mind were like his since she was young. When she grew up, she would definitely be a devil that couldn't be provoked. After the people from the Commission for Discipline Inspection left, Ruan Qingshuang began to invite everyone to eat. The medicinal hot pot made the whole room hot and fragrant. If they didn't start eating, Guagua's saliva would flow out. As everyone began to move their chopsticks, Su Yun and Qin Zhongming also began to savor this nourishing and appetizing medicinal hot pot. After half a glass of wine, Su Yun and Qin Zhongming began to chat. Qin Zhongming didn't feel embarrassed to say, Su Yun, you see, Uncle Qin hasn't stopped since I came to Hadong. Haha, even if I pay attention to everything, I can't prevent someone from stabbing me in the back. Last time, your friend gave me money for the man-made river project. You should have heard about it, right? I heard about it. Su Yun nodded and said, Uncle Qin, I have already scolded them for that. Please don't mind them. They used to be in the underworld, especially Lu Feng. He used to work in construction sites. He knew that if he wanted to win a project, he had to feed a lot of people, so he habitually gave you something. He definitely didn't mean any harm. It was purely a conditioned reflex. Qin Zhongming smiled bitterly. I know. People nowadays have become habitual to doing things. They feel that if they don't give gifts, they can't raise their heads to bid. But this was a trap set by Feng Guaqing. If I had taken the money, I'm afraid I would have been taken away by the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Su Yun continued to nod and said, Yes. They have caused trouble for you. Su Yun, let me say something. It's not that I'm virtuous. It's just that I have never thought of using my power to gain any benefits. I don't need it. Qin Zhongming said righteously, I want to live my life righteously. After I die, I will have the face to see the ancestors of the Qin family. So, I will never accept gifts or money from others. This is my principle. Uncle Qin, I admire people like you. If Huaxia had officials like you, then society would be peaceful. The lives of the people would be much better than now. Su Yun sighed with emotion. Qin Zhongming sighed, I'm in a very difficult situation now. The proposal for the construction of the artificial river was indeed put forward by me. But I didn't expect Feng Guaqing to beat me at my own game and put me in charge of this project, including the bidding and selection at the beginning. Not to mention that this has caused me to offend the people of the Construction and Planning Bureau, but at the same time, it has pushed me onto the path of being unrighteous. Su-yun understood this. Who didn't have connections in this day and age? There must be a lot of people who would use various connections to get this project from Qin Zhongming. Qin Zhongming wasn't that kind of person. So, he must have offended a lot of colleagues because of his refusal. Once he started to refuse, he had to refuse until the end. Because if there was any trace of him in the process, Feng Guoqing would be able to catch it. In this way, Qin Zhongming almost offended half of his connections because of the artificial lake. Later, Qin Zhongming proposed the idea of a provincial public bidding. He thought that this matter would be over, but he didn't expect to cause such a big trouble halfway. Lu Feng actually played tricks to stop companies from bidding from other cities. If this little trick had been played quietly, it would have been fine. In the end, he provoked a big problem. Lu Feng brought people with guns and killed 2 people on the ground of Hadong City. This death was particularly troublesome. Although the cause of death of the 2 people was not gunshot, but a car crash, it was enough to cause Qin Zhongming a lot of trouble. Now that the artificial lake incident had passed a few days ago, Qin Zhongming originally thought that the city would put an end to it. But he didn't expect Feng Guoqing to bring up this matter again at today's meeting. Feng Guoqing even took the lead to encourage him to continue to be responsible for this matter to the end. Everyone could see that Feng Guoqing was obviously trying to defame Qin Zhongming. But after all, Feng Guoqing was the secretary. Who dared to disobey his words? Qin Zhongming had no choice but to grit his teeth and accept it. But he was really at a loss as to what to do next. Chapter 318. Su-yun raised his glass and said, "Uncle Qin, do you want to hear my advice? If you believe me, let's drink this glass of wine and I will tell you my opinion." It is said that the onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. What do you think? Qin Zhongming had been waiting for Su-yun to say this. Seeing that Su-yun had said so, he also raised his glass and said, "Come on, let's drink. I really need you to give me some pointers. I'm lost. I'm old, and I'm really confused." The 2 of them raised their glasses. There was about 6 or 7 coins in the glass. They drank it directly. After drinking it, they smacked their lips because of the spiciness, but their stomachs were warm. Huaxia people couldn't talk about anything without drinking. This habit had really become an unchanging rule throughout the ages. Qin Wan hurriedly got up and scooped up the mutton and vegetables in the pot for the 2 of them. She complained and muttered, "Okay, Su-yun, don't let my father drink so much." "What can't he drink? Isn't the Confucius family's wine good? Why must he drink so much? I think you are a big stupid donkey." "Hey, Uncle Qin, listen, how can Qin Wan talk like that? What did I do to become a stupid donkey?" Su-yun grinned and said, "We drink the wine of our province every day. What's wrong with changing the style? How can it be stupid to taste the wine of other provinces for a change?" Qin Zhongming pretended to be angry and said to Qin Wan, "What you said just now was really too much. Quickly pour a glass of wine for Su-yun and apologize." Qin Wan stared at him and said, "I apologize to him? I am already giving him face by not cutting him. Why should I apologize to him? Dad, are you kidding? Who asked him to drink such a high alcohol content? Isn't the 38% wine good? This is 68% wine. None of you should drink anymore." Su-yun ignored her. This was a 750 milliliters bottle of smothered donkey, which was half a liter. The 2 of them had drunk 650 milliliters, and they hadn't even drunk half a bottle. Of course, Su-yun wouldn't stop. "Come on, Uncle Qin, I don't expect her to pour wine for me. I'll pour wine for you. Let's drink and not waste time with her. We Huaxia people are particular about drinking in pairs. Come. Qin Wan still wanted to get angry, but Wan Qingshuang pulled her and motioned her to sit down. "Just let them drink. Don't stop them. Uncle Qin and Su-yun are not the kind of people who lose control after drinking. It doesn't matter if they drink. Okay, I'll take this glass. Sister Frost, the alcohol content is too high. I'm afraid my dad can't handle it. It was not that Qin Wan did not want her father to drink. She was just like many other children. She was worried about her father's health. Ruan Qingshuang nodded. I know. I'll keep an eye on them for you. Su Yun continued to provoke Qin Wan. Did you hear that? Did you see that? Learn from Sister Frost. I'm not trying to provoke you, but if you can be half as virtuous as Sister Frost, you won't have a problem getting married. Qin Wan was so angry that she rolled her eyes and ignored him. Qin Zhongming looked at the young people bickering. Although he didn't say anything, he was very happy in his heart. It was said that between young people, fighting was affection. If they didn't fight and scold, they wouldn't love each other. Uncle Qin, listen to me. I'll tell you about your current situation. Tell me if this is the case. Su Yun said seriously, originally, the artificial lake project you proposed was a good thing. It could improve the development of tourism in Hadong City. To put it bluntly, it could attract some tourists to stay in Hadong City for a few more days. This could drive the economic development of the whole city's food, accommodation, and all kinds of consumables. Qin Zhongming nodded. Su Yun, you know me best. When I first proposed this project, the city actually suspected that I was making a fuss. Sigh, it would be great if someone like you could be used by the country. Nowadays, the ability of the country's civil servants is really lower than the average level of society. Too many people are afraid that they won't be able to survive in this survival of the fittest society, so they take on this iron rice bowl job. Sigh, this is the country and society's failure. How many people like you who are really capable are not used by the country? What a pity. Su Yun blushed at Qin Zhongming's flattery. Uncle Qin, you're being too serious. I was just saying it casually. Feng Guoqing didn't admit that the artificial lake project was good at first because he was afraid that you would do something and steal his limelight. It's not that people can't see the advantages of this project. You're right. Indeed, Feng Guoqing keeps a close eye on everything I do. Qin Zhongming was full of praise for Su Yun's observation skills. Su Yun continued, but later, he admitted that it was a good project and let you be in charge of it. Uncle Qin, Feng Guoqing wants to take advantage of the fact that you're new to Hadong City and don't have many connections here to give you this fat meat. This way, many people will consider that you don't have any connections here, and they'll be shameless enough to recommend their connections to you. If you refuse, you'll offend them. That's why you're in a deadlock of being betrayed by everyone. These words made sense. Qin Zhongming was truly moved by the fact that the onlooker had a clear view of the situation. Up until now, he still couldn't understand why Feng Guoqing would give him such a lucrative job. One had to know that this was an opportunity that many people dreamed of. Also, if you accept any bribes, Feng Guoqing will not hesitate to send someone to report you to the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Su Yun smiled and continued, so, in this matter, Feng Guoqing is a double-edged sword. No matter which side you take, he will be able to hurt you. If you accept bribes, he'll have something on you. If you don't accept bribes, you'll offend all the people around you. No matter which choice you make, it'll only be beneficial to him. Qin Zhongming nodded. That was indeed the case. No matter what, he had been ruthlessly checkmated in this game of chess. In order to save the people around you, you announced the provincial bidding. This is your last resort. Su Yun guessed correctly, and then he sighed. However, we didn't expect that Lu Feng would cause such a big mess. He made the decision without permission, and actually wanted to use the advantage of being a local bully to intimidate the bidders from outside the city. In the end, it caused such a big mess and gave you even more trouble. Seeing that Su Yun was a little embarrassed, Qin Zhongming patted Su Yun's shoulder. Haha, Su Yun, you're not to blame for this. You can't blame Lu Feng and the others. They thought it through. Actually, I understand. If I gave the project to Lu Feng, I would be relieved. Because of my relationship with you, I believe that Lu Feng won't cut corners. But I have to make the bidding public. This is not to prove how honest I am, but to show Feng Guoqing. Su Yun nodded. Uncle Qin, I understand what you said. So, I know even more clearly that this job can't be given to Lu Feng and the others. Once it's given to them, Feng Guoqing will definitely find some clues and frame you for abusing your power. Qin Wan couldn't listen to it anymore. She didn't expect that the government compound where her father worked would be so full of intrigue. Dad, since Feng Guoqing doesn't like you, you should write a letter to apply for a transfer. Why do you have to lower yourself to his level? It's not that I haven't thought about leaving, but if I leave, I'll be running away. In the political struggle, once you start running away, it means that you've lost forever. Qin Zhongming was very serious when he said this. Su Yun raised his wine glass and toasted Qin Zhongming. Uncle Qin, we can't run away from this, and we can't lose. Feng Guoqing has the mentality that you can't do this project well, so he dares to let you be in charge of this project and then wait to see you make a fool of yourself. Then you have to do a beautiful job of transforming this artificial lake. That would be equivalent to slapping Feng Guoqing's face with a loud and clear slap. Qin Zhongming smiled bitterly and sipped his wine. I also want to finish this project beautifully, but I really don't have the strength to do it. Because of the problem with the bidding of the artificial lake, no one in Hadong City dares to mess with it. They all think it's a piece of fatty meat soaked in poison. Although the fatty meat is fragrant, no one wants to take a bite and lose their life. Since we are bidding in the province, there are many companies in other cities that can do this project. Such a piece of fatty meat, there will be people who want to eat it, Su Yun said affirmatively. Yes, there will definitely be people who want to eat such a piece of fatty meat. You know, our condition is to directly give away more than 900 mu of land around the artificial lake. Qin Zhongming sighed. This is not a small temptation for any company. Otherwise, no one would bring a gun to fight with Lu Feng. Since ancient times, there is a saying that a strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its old haunts. And this kind of person who can suppress a snake in its old haunts is not an ordinary strong dragon. Su Yun knew Qin Zhongming's worry. You are afraid that provoking this kind of person will bring unnecessary trouble to Hadong City? Qin Zhongming nodded his head. That's right, if another bidding is announced, then this person who can bring people to take down Lu Feng and the others will definitely come to compete again. Once he takes down this project, if Lu Feng finds out. Su Yun, even if you have a good temper, can you tolerate a group of people who bullied your brother and openly engage in construction under your nose? Of course not, Su Yun said bluntly. I will definitely destroy him. Qin Zhongming sighed. This is what I am worried about. I am worried that, in the end, the people who have the ability to win this project are really those who are not afraid of Lu Feng. By then, it will be too late. This project will not be a good one, and it will cause a bloody storm in Hadong City. By then, I will really become the sinner of Hadong City. Because I can't control it, I am worried that what happens in the end will be something I cannot bear. Chapter 319. Looking at Su Yun, who was full of confidence, Qin Zhongming admired and liked him. He picked up his glass again and said, Su Yun, drink with Uncle Qin. I'm afraid my heart can't take it. Su Yun smiled and picked up his glass. Uncle Qin, I'll drink half a glass. Help yourself. After saying that, Su Yun drank half a glass. It was really good to drink at this height. It definitely made his stomach burn. It felt as if there was a fire in his stomach. Even if it was snowing heavily outside, Su Yun would not feel cold if he went out naked. This was what made people happy. Uncle Qin, have you heard of the Tang Group in Jibei? Su Yun smiled slightly. When he mentioned the Tang Group, Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun stopped eating. Qin Wan reacted for a while before she realized. Guagua was also excited when she heard that. I know. It's Sister Xiao Jiu's company. Qin Zhongming looked at the others' expressions and guessed that Su Yun had something to do with the Tang Group. Of course, I know this. The Tang Group is one of the large construction companies in Zhongbei Province. It has been established for 20 or 30 years. It is one of the top 100 private enterprises in Zhongbei Province. Now, it seems to be developing more comprehensively. It is not only in construction. Su Yun nodded. Yes, the Tang Group should be a very large company in Zhongbei province. Lu Feng and the others can't compare with it. The Tang Group has the special grade qualification for the general contracting of housing construction projects, the first grade for the general contracting of highway construction projects, the first grade for the general contracting of municipal public works, the first grade for the general contracting of mechanical and electrical installation projects, the first grade for the professional contracting of building decoration projects, the first grade for the professional contracting of fire protection projects, the first grade for the professional contracting of auxiliary lifting scaffolding projects, the first grade for the professional contracting of mechanical and electrical installation projects, and the first grade for the professional contracting of highway roadbed projects. It is one of the few construction companies in Zhongbei province that has obtained the special grade qualification for the general contracting of housing construction projects, the highest qualification for the main projects, and the most qualification for the additional projects. It is very powerful. There's nothing to say about that. Qin Zhongming nodded and sighed. Just this pile of first-class qualifications is enough to leave many companies in the dust, not to mention the special grade qualification for general contracting of housing construction projects. That requires a registered capital of more than 300 million yuan, an average settlement income of more than 1.5 billion yuan in the past 3 years, a manager who has at least 10 years of experience in project management or a senior title, a chief engineer who has at least 10 years of experience in construction technology management and a senior title, a chief accountant who has at least a senior title, and a chief economist who has at least a senior title. Just the thought of being able to be rated as a special grade was enough to make people feel terrified. Sister Xiao Zhou's family is so powerful? Guagua opened her mouth wide in surprise. Dad, why haven't I heard you mention it before? I didn't know either. If I hadn't chatted with Tang Jiu's father, I wouldn't have known what the Tang Group does. Construction is the main business of the Tang Group. They are also involved in financial investments, paper manufacturing, rubber manufacturing, auto parts manufacturing, and recently, they even bought a pipe manufacturing factory. So, the scale of the Tang Group is not small. Su Yun shrugged. Qin Wan nodded and said thoughtfully, "It is definitely not an ordinary family. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so generous as to give away such a hotel." Guagua nodded. That's right. No wonder Sister Xiao Jiu's family wants to divide her family's property. So that's why. Dad, I think you should follow Sister Xiao Jiu. She has so much property. She is not someone who anyone can get close to. Sister Xiao Jiu has taken the initiative and has so much property. If she marries you, can I be your agent? This little money grubber. Su Yun was really speechless. Money was really omnipotent. Guagua, children shouldn't interrupt when adults are talking. Ruan Qingxuang scooped up a lot of mutton and vegetables for Guagua. Be a good girl and eat. She didn't understand what Su Yun and Qin Zhongming were talking about. So, she was worried that Guagua would interrupt them. With meat to eat, Guagua was much more obedient. This little devil was a wolf in her previous life. Su Yun, I don't think the Tang Group will be interested in the construction of our small city. Qin Zhongming voiced his concerns. If a company with special qualifications were to bid, of course, they would have an absolute advantage. But Hadong City is a small city, after all. It's difficult to attract a large-scale construction company like the Tang Group. Su Yun shook his head. That won't happen. Hadong City has enough reasons to attract the Tang Corporation to invest here. Qin Zhongming smiled. Is it because of you? I don't have that much influence. It's because of Hadong City's unique living environment. Su Yun smiled. Uncle Qin, if I told you that the former chairman of the Tang Group, Tang Zhengtian, is living in seclusion in Hadong City, would you believe me? Qin Zhongming's mouth was wide open. Tang Zhengtian was a well-known figure in Zhongbei province. He had been on the cover of the Zhongbei Economic Weekly. Qin Zhongming had naturally heard of him. You mean Tang Zhengtian is in Hadong City? That's impossible. Su Yun, Tang Zhengtian is very busy as the chairman of the Tang Group. How could he have time to waste in Hadong City? Su Yun shook his head. Uncle Chin, you didn't hear me clearly. I said the former chairman of the Tang Group, Tang Zhengtian. The former chairman? Qin Zhongming frowned. It couldn't be. The day before he was transferred from Jinan City to Hadong City, he had seen Tang Zhengtian give an interview to the Economic Times. He said that the Tang Group would successfully transform before the construction industry reached saturation. Now, the Tang Group already owned 4 major industries. One was economic investment, one was auto parts, one was paper, and one was rubber. Qin Zhongming remembered clearly that Tang Zhengtian had said that he could work for the Tang Group for another 10 years. It was his dream to make the Tang Group one of the top 5 taxpayers in Jiangbei province. Why did Qin Zhongming remember it so clearly? It was because Qin Zhongming was also worried about the economic development of Jinan City. He imagined that the Tang Group could make some investments in Jinan City. That would solve the economic and tax problems of Jinan City. How did Tang Zhengtian become the former chairman all of a sudden? Could it be that something had happened to the Tang Group? Su Yun, quickly tell me what's going on. Qin Zhongming didn't understand, so he was particularly anxious. Did something big happen to the Tang Group? Su Yun nodded. It's a big change. Tang Zhengtian abdicated and handed the entire Tang Group to his 22-year-old daughter, Tang Jiu. This news was really shocking. How could such a large corporation be handed over to a 22-year-old girl just like that? Qin Zhongming really couldn't believe this answer. People in this society were so sinister. Tang Zhengtian abdicated. Wasn't he afraid that the people around him would fight for power with his daughter? Qin Zhongming shook his head. Su Yun, to be honest, I really can't believe this news. Tang Zhengtian has been in society for so long. It's impossible that he doesn't know how sinister people are. Even if he wants to train his daughter, he wouldn't hand over the company to his daughter and then retire to Hadong City. This doesn't make sense. Isn't he worried that the architecture empire he created will be divided by the people around him in his daughter's hands? Guagua, who had finished the mutton in her bowl, couldn't help but speak again. Someone wanted to divide Sister Xiao Jiu's things, but my dad went. With my dad helping Sister Xiao Jiu in Jibei, no one dared to touch Sister Xiao Jiu's Tang family. That's why Uncle Tang dared to retire to Hadong City. Uncle Qin, Uncle Tang is really in Hadong City. Tong Yen wouldn't tell such a lie. It wasn't that Qin Zhongming didn't believe Su Yun, but he really felt that this matter was too shocking. However, what Tong Yen said shocked him even more. Tang Group wasn't in a mess because of Su Yun's help? No matter how he heard it, it sounded like a fantasy story. It's not as exaggerated as Guagua said. I just did what I could. Su Yun was very modest. That's why I have a good relationship with Tang Jiu and Tang Zhengtian. If I let Tang Group do some development here, I think they won't refuse. Qin Zhongming still couldn't believe it. Are you serious? You're not joking with me, right? Of course not, Uncle Qin. And this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone for all of us. Tang Jiu has just taken over the company and urgently needs a good project to prove that she has the ability to sit in that position. I'm doing her a favor. Su Yun smiled. Of course, Uncle Qin. I'm not letting you in through the back door. This is a proper bid. I believe Tang Group has the ability. Qin Zhongming nodded. This ability was really great. Come, Su Yun. Let's have another toast. Qin Zhongming really enjoyed drinking with Su Yun. It was relaxing to drink, and Su Yun could help him solve his problems. He really felt that God was kind to him. Although he was transferred to Hadong City because of the political struggle, he was able to meet such a capable person. It was definitely worth it. Let's have another toast? Su Yun wasn't afraid. He still had a third of his glass, but Qin Zhongming still had half. Uncle Qin, how about this? I'll drink, and you can do whatever you want. Qin Zhongming drank happily and was in a good mood. Of course, he didn't want to. No, let's have another toast. After that, we'll share the rest. There's only 1 bottle. I won't drink any more. Qin Zhongming took the lead and drank half of the wine. Qin Weiner had a headache. Dad, I can't let you drink like this. Su Yun, be careful. Qin Zhongming didn't know if it was because he was happy or because he drank too fast, but he said to his daughter, Weiner, how can you talk to your dad's brother like this? I have to be polite. You can't be like this. Hurry up and pour Su Yun some more. I still have something to say to my brother. Chapter 320. After downing the entire bottle, Su Yun and Qin Zhongming were both in a good mood. One of them was relieved that they had safely returned to Hadong City, while the other was excited that Su Yun had come back and solved his biggest problem. In the end, the two of them drank 6 bottles of beer each before the meal was over. Guagua was already sleepy. The next day was Monday, and she didn't have time to waste. Seeing that the meal was finally over, she asked Ruan Qingshuang to go upstairs to sleep. Ruan Qingshuang said that this child was sensible. She knew that when Qin Zhongming and Su Yun hadn't finished drinking, she didn't want to leave. So, she insisted until now that she was sleepy. Qin Zhongming didn't want to stay there and insisted on taking a taxi. Su Yun and Qin Wan were also worried. In the end, they arranged for Dan Jiahao to drive him home. Dan Jiahao was also happy to do that. A few days after the hotel paid for the Buick MPV, his driver's license would be issued. Now, he was itching to drive. Seeing Dan Jiahao drive away, Qin Wan couldn't help but doubt his driving skills. Su Yun was very relaxed. He wasn't worried about Dan Jiahao's driving skills at all. When he saw that this kid was so skilled at starting the car, he knew that he had done a lot of driving without a license. Although the MPV was big, it was an automatic after all. It was like a big toy when he drove. After seeing Qin Zhongming leave, Su Yun and Qin Wan went back to the top floor of the hotel. Ruan Qingshuang had already taken Guagua back to her room to coax her to sleep. Cho Yun went out without saying goodbye. Su Yun knew that she was worried, so he let her be. Come to my room. Su Yun said bluntly, I have something to discuss with you. What can't you say here? It's the middle of the night, and you're drunk. How can a girl like me believe you? Qin Wan rolled her eyes and snorted. Don't expect me to serve you when you're drunk. Su Yun was speechless. How can I drink this much wine? Why don't you use your pig brain? Su Yun said as he opened the door and walked into his room. Qin Wan stepped in and glared at him. Who are you calling a pig brain? If you have something to say it quickly. I'm sleepy. I'm going to take a bath and sleep. I don't have time to waste with you. I just want to ask you for a favor. If someone calls the police because of me in a few days, I want you to help me stop it. Su Yun went straight to the point. I don't think you can guess how much trouble Uncle Qin's project will cause. So, I want to tell you in advance that when the time comes, there will definitely be a lot of scoundrels looking for trouble here. Firstly, I want to help your father solve the problem, and secondly, I want to help my brother get back his face. How about it? My request isn't too much, right? Qin Wan was surprisingly calm. After a while, she said, You mean, if they call the police, you will inform me and ask me to help you stop the person in charge of the police station? Su Yun nodded. How about it? It's not difficult. With your ability, it should be a small matter. It's not a small matter. It's an obstruction of official business. Qin Wan said bluntly, Their dispatch is arranged by the police station. They need to make a return receipt report to the police station. This is the rule. If they are arranged to dispatch, but they don't go, then, Su Yun grinned. Qin Wan rules are dead, but people are alive. Their return receipt report can be written like this. They can say that they were dispatched and went to the target area, but they didn't see anything. Then the person who called the police must have nothing better to do. He called the police to trick people. Qin Wan was so shocked by Su Yun's idea that her mouth was wide open. What was this? She really couldn't tell. Su Yun looked so kind, but he was full of evil ideas. Wasn't this evil idea too much? In the end, Qin Wan was convinced by Su Yun and agreed to Su Yun's request. Su Yun's worries were not superfluous. Once the bidding for the artificial river began, the people who had attacked Lu Feng and the others would definitely appear. Su Yun did not plan to let Lu Feng and the others take this job because he felt that Lu Feng and the others did not have the ability to do such a big project. This project could be said to be very simple, but it could also be said to be very complicated. It was not as simple as building some houses near the artificial river. It was to create a commercial area on both sides of the Yen River that could retain tourists. Therefore, its functions and design had to be very powerful. Based on this point, Su Yun knew that Lu Feng and the others could not do it. That was why he thought of the Tang Group. After all, the Tang Group started its business in construction, and its qualification was one of the best in Jiangbei province. Since they were going to do this project, they had to do their best. This was Su Yun's motto. If it was a small project, it was not a big deal to let Lu Feng do it, as long as the quality was good. However, it involved design and planning. Su Yun really did not look down on them. I heard from Sister Jiling that you too went to Suong to shoot an advertisement. Su Yun, why didn't you tell us that you had such a relationship with the Sky Entertainment Group? Qin Wan did not choose to leave after Su Yun finished the previous topic. Instead, she threw a question that made Su Yun's head hurt. Su Yun stuttered for a long time but couldn't come up with a clear explanation. After all, this wasn't something that could be explained in a few sentences. It even involved his background. How could he explain something that even he couldn't figure out? If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. I won't force you. However, you stayed in Suong for so many days. Did you think about bringing me a gift? Qin Wan raised her eyebrows. What Juku red plum tea, Westlake Longjing tea, and so on. More or less, right? I really didn't have time to go shopping, so. Su Yun was also quite embarrassed. He went out for half a day and did not bring back any specialties. Qin Wan rolled her eyes. No time? Are you that busy? Sister Jiling is such a big shot, but she still has time to go shopping. She even gave me a Westlake silk umbrella. She said that it was a souvenir that she bought in Suong. You don't have time to go shopping? Su Yun was very embarrassed. Of course, Ling Jiling had time. When he started to investigate Green Ghost's situation, Ling Jiling had time to buy these little specialties. From beginning to end, he did not even have a good night's sleep in Suong. He really did not have the heart to bring back souvenirs. I really didn't. Although Su Yun knew that this answer was too forced, he really had no other choice. I don't believe it. Qin Wan glanced at the backpack beside Su Yun's bed. Then what's in this backpack? You probably carried it back from Suong. Su Yun nodded. It's just some toiletries. There's really nothing in it. At this point, Su Yun's expression suddenly changed. He seemed to have thought of something and stared at the backpack. F***CK, how could he forget such an important thing? Seeing Su Yun's expression change, Qin Wan snorted. I knew you must have brought a souvenir. You didn't think of me, right? Fine, Su Yun, I knew you wouldn't think of me when you have something good. You only think of me when you need my help. Su Yun did not know how to explain. It's really not a souvenir. Souvenirs from all over the country look the same. You can go to the Great Wall and Sonya and buy the same coconut shell handicrafts. Don't explain. I don't want it. Just let me see what it is. Qin Wan said as she walked over to take the backpack. Are you bringing it for Sister Qing Shuang or Tang Jiu? Humph, I can definitely guess when I see it. Su Yun quickly went forward to stop her. There's really nothing in it. However, he was still one step too late. Qin Wan hugged the backpack. The more Su Yun did not let her see, the more curious she was about what treasure was inside. If it could make Su Yun so nervous, it was definitely not something simple. Su Yun was embarrassed. There was a Western proverb that said curiosity killed the cat. Now, Qin Wan's curiosity had embarrassed him. When Qin Wainer opened the bag, she didn't seem to understand what it meant. It was full of women's underwear. At that time, Chin Weiner was dumbfounded. It was just like the underwear thief she had caught in a certain neighborhood. That guy only had women's underwear in his backpack. At that time, Chin Weiner was dumbfounded. It was the same now. Chin Weiner was still dumbfounded. However, Su Yun was not a thief. Chin Wan seemed to understand very quickly. She nodded as if she suddenly understood. Her face revealed a faint smile. Su Yun, you're really something. I heard from Sister Ji Ling that you were going to shoot an underwear commercial. It seems like you brought it back on the way. It's Wilson's. It's very expensive, right? Is it because you don't have to pay for it? Su Yun stood in the corner with black lines on his head. He felt like he had added a vertical line and a circle on a test paper with a 0. He had changed into a child who got 100 points. He was waiting for his parents to find out and beat him up. Why didn't you call us and ask for our opinion before you took it? Chin Wan muttered to herself. She took out underwear one by one from the backpack. Wow, no way. You actually took so much. Even if you don't want money, you don't have to do this. Su Yun could not bear it and said, Wan, have you heard of the saying, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment? What do you mean? Chin Wan was stunned. Then, she pointed at all the underwear and said, Don't tell me you didn't think of me? Hey, Su Yun, what do you mean? Am I not a woman in your eyes? Su Yun said angrily, I want to give these to a man, not to you. Also, these are the clothes that Sister Ji Ling wore when she was shooting. They are not new. Chin Wan's mouth was wide open. Giving Ling Ji Ling's clothes to a man, she could only think of one word. Pervert. You can say whatever you want. Su Yun smiled bitterly. I promise, if I go anywhere in the future, I will definitely think of bringing you gifts. I promise. Chapter 321. What the F***ck? Su Yun watched Chin Wan walk out of his room angrily. How did he become a pervert in the blink of an eye? Really interesting. However, Su Yun looked at the messy underwear on the bed. He also had a feeling that this was a pervert's room. It seemed that this thing really needed to be sent out as soon as possible. If it became moldy in his hands, then he would be sorry for his old man. Although these underwear were only worn once, they were not washed after all. Just after Su Yun put away a bag of underwear, Dan Jiahao called his mobile phone. Brother Yun, did I disturb you? What's the matter? Su Yun said with surprise. Did you send Uncle Chin home safely? Your driving skills still need to be improved. It's such a short distance. It's almost half an hour. Why haven't you come back yet? Brother Yun, are you alone in the room? You didn't have sex with Sister Wan, right? Are you sure it's you? Dan Jiahao's voice was a little flustered. He didn't know what he wanted to say. If it weren't for the fact that they were on the phone, Su Yunjin would have kicked his butt. Slap your ass. If you have something to say it quickly. I'm sure I'm alone. Where the hell are you? You didn't come back? When Dan Jiahao heard that Chin Wan was not present, he let out a sigh of relief. Brother, I was afraid that Sister Wan would be worried if she heard us. I have been following Uncle Chin the whole time. I just sent him to his place. As a result, there was a 7 Series BMW parked downstairs. When Uncle Chin got out of the car, Na Bao also got out of the car. Get to the point. What do you mean by following Uncle Chin all the time? Didn't you send him home? Su Yun had already picked up his coat and walked out. Listening to Dan Jiahao's tone, he knew that something bad must have happened. The person who got out of the car seemed to know Uncle Chin, so I didn't care. Uncle Chin even invited them upstairs. Dan Jiahao continued, but as soon as I left, I saw a business car that looked exactly like ours drive over from the rearview mirror. A few young men jumped out of the car and directly carried Uncle Chin into the car and took him away. I followed him. I was afraid that I would lose him, so I didn't have time to call you. Su Yun had already boarded the elevator. Where are you now? I followed them all the way. This is the star of Jinha Hotel. After they arrived, they took Uncle Chin inside. I didn't act rashly. Brother, I'll listen to you. I'll do whatever you want me to do. We have guys in the car. If you let me fight them, I won't be afraid even if I'm alone. As Dan Jiahao spoke, he had already gotten out of the car and opened the trunk. The thing he was referring to was the fire extinguisher. Su Yun gave him the final word, "Just wait for me there. If the situation permits, go and ask them which room they went to. I'll be there soon. Before I get there, you can't act on your own." "Yes, Brother Yun." After hanging up the phone, Dan Jiahao was full of excitement. It was the first time that he worked with his brother Yun. Previously, people said that he was young. This time, he wanted to prove to his brother Yun that although he was young, he was definitely not worse than his brother, Dan Hongning. Su Yun met Cho Yun as soon as he walked out of the hotel lobby. Su Yun didn't have time to explain too clearly. He just asked Cho Yun to look after Guagua and others in the hotel. Then he hurriedly took a taxi and left. During the whole process, Su Yun didn't hesitate at all. It only took him more than 5 minutes to get from the Hadong Hotel to the star of Jinha Hotel. Seeing Su Yun come, Dan Jiahao quickly rushed over from the side of the car. Just by looking at Su Yun's eyes, he knew what Su Yun wanted to ask him. Business Suite 3018. Just now, when Su Yun asked him to ask for the room number, he immediately ran to the front desk and told the girl at the front desk that he was the driver of the group of people just now. They asked him to wait for a guest, but he forgot the room number. The girl at the front desk was a simple enough girl. She immediately told Dan Jiahao the room number. Dan Jiahao thought that he could get Su Yun's praise for successfully getting the room number, but Su Yun didn't say anything and directly walked into the hotel chain. Dan Jiahao also realized that such a small thing was not worth showing off and being proud of. Seeing Su Yun stride into the hotel, Dan Jiahao quickly ran forward and pressed the elevator button. The two went directly to the 3rd floor and found room 3018 according to the order of the room number. Bang, bang, bang. Su Yun knocked on the door without saying anything. The room, which originally had a faint conversation, suddenly quieted down. Then a man's voice was heard. "Who is it? You're in the wrong room, right? Everyone in the room is asleep." Dan Jiahao pinched his nose and mimicked the scene in the movies. "Sorry, I'm cleaning the room." Su Yun was so angry that he almost rolled his eyes. F***CK, what kind of hotel staff is cleaning the room at this time? Even if they clean it, they only clean it after they check out. If you say that, it'll be strange if they open the door. Unless the people in the room are idiots. Dan Jiahao was not affected by Su Yun's scolding. He hurriedly gestured to Su Yun to lower his voice. "Brother Yun, it'll be troublesome if the people inside hear us." "So what if they hear us?" Su Yun was too lazy to think so much for them. He had knocked on the door, but the people inside did not open it. This could not be blamed on him. At this time, it was definitely not a good thing to invite Qin Zhongming out. Su Yun did not need to think too much. Anyway, he was familiar with the police, so he was not afraid of causing a little trouble. In the blink of an eye, Su Yun had already raised his leg and kicked open the door of the room with a bang. The door that was kicked open by a huge force smashed into the body of a young man who was guarding the door. The young man was directly sent flying into the huge living room of the business suite. Su Yun swaggered in under the surprised gazes of Dan Jiahao and everyone in the room. After being stunned for a long time, Dan Jiahao finally understood what it meant to be domineering. He took a deep breath and followed behind Su Yun. He stood valiantly behind Su Yun, his expression as awesome as it could be. Looking at the two uninvited guests, the 3 young men in the guest room who looked particularly strong surrounded them one after another. The 2 young men standing behind the sofa also stared at Su Yun attentively. On the sofa in the living room sat a fat man with a big belly and a crew cut. His neck was almost invisible, and his fingers were as thick as small carrots. They were all shining with gold. This kind of person was either a nouveau riche or a big brother in the underworld. Of course, There were also some punks who could not be seen in public who would wear gold chains made of titanium alloy that did not fade. Obviously, the person on the sofa was not the kind of person who would pretend to be someone. At first glance, one could tell that he had some ability. Sitting on the sofa opposite the fat man was Qin Zhongming. Seeing Su Yun and Dan Jiahao break in, Qin Zhongming was stunned at first, then relaxed a lot. "Su Yun, why are you here?" Without waiting for Su Yun to speak, the fat man sneered. "Yo, brother Qin, you are doing well. It hasn't even been a month since you came to this small town in Hadong, right? You even have such a loyal little brother. It seems that I was worried about you for nothing. Zhu Fei, I know why you came to me. Now you should let me go, right?" Qin Zhongming signaled Su Yun with his eyes not to mess around. From his tone, it seemed that he also knew this fat man. Since they knew each other, Su Yun did not make any more moves. He had to give Uncle Qin some face. Besides, he came here not to make trouble, not to fight, but to save people. As long as Uncle Qin was fine, it was fine. "Brother Qin, I came to invite you to tea. The tea hasn't been brewed yet. Are you going to leave?" The fat man seemed to have no intention of letting Qin Zhongming leave. "Brew the tea." After receiving the order, a young man immediately took the tea tray and tea set on the table to brew tea. "I won't drink the tea." Qin Zhongming smiled. "Zhu Fei, whether you can win this project or not depends on your ability. It's useless for you to come to me. If you have enough strength and confidence, I believe you can win it." The fat man's name was Zhu Fei, the chairman of Feiyang Real Estate in Jinan City. This was his name. His name was not, but he was the helmsman of the entire underground gang in Jinan City. "Brother Qin, don't you know how powerful I am? Ha ha ha. Alas, I found that I've known you for so many years in vain. When you were the secretary of Jinan City, I asked you to do something for me, but you didn't look me in the eye. I respected you because you were the secretary, so I didn't say no to you. You didn't help me with anything, so I didn't do anything wrong." The smile on Zhu Fei's face was very disdainful. "Brother Qin, you were demoted from the secretary of a prefecture-level city like Jinan to the mayor of a small county-level city like Hadong. You're really regressing." Qin Zhongming's expression did not change at all, even when Zhu Fei mentioned that he had been tricked. "Yes, I don't know how to be a decent person. You know that." At this time, the young man had made a pot of Tiguanyin tea and put it on the tea table in front of them, together with the tea tray, teapot, and teacups. Zhu Fei suddenly patted the table. "Brother Qin, it's none of my business whether you know how to be a decent person or not. You didn't give me face back then, and I gave you face because I couldn't hurt you. But now it's different. You are the mayor of Hadong, and it has nothing to do with me. Even if you are killed, the higher-ups will only send people to regulate the public security of Hadong, and it has nothing to do with Jinan City." After that, Zhu Fei grinned again. "Brother Qin, do you understand what I mean?" Facing Zhu Fei's threat, Qin Zhongming did not show any weakness. "Zhu Fei, do you really think there is no law in this society?" "Let me tell you, there are laws in Huaxia." Zhu Fei chuckled. "Brother Qin, I really thought that there was no law in this society. Where is the law? Why don't you call the law and introduce it to me?" Su Yun, who had been silent, finally couldn't help but raise his head and laugh a few times. "I like what you said. Sometimes, the law can't solve the problem." Su Yun walked to the two with a smile. Since this fat man didn't talk about the law, he must be a person of the underground world. Then, what reason did Su Yun have to be polite to him? The underground world was particular about the law of the jungle. Whoever had the hardest fist was the boss. Chapter 322. Ever since Su Yun and Dan Jiahao entered the room, the three well-built youths who surrounded them vigilantly made their move without hesitation when they heard the order of the fat man squatting on the sofa. The two people blocking in front of them made their move almost at the same time. One used a long fist, and the other used a whip kick. Their target was the same, Su Yun. It seemed that everyone could see that Su Yun had dangerous combat power. Once Su Yun was taken down, the kid next to him was nothing at all. Therefore, Dan Jiahao naturally became the target of abandonment. No one took a guy who didn't even have hair properly seriously. But none of them thought that the opponent they chose would be so strong. Su Yun didn't have any intention of dodging the attack. He suddenly grabbed the whip kick that was thrown over and used one arm strength. Before the other person's fist smashed over, he directly pulled the guy who threw the kick in front of him and used him as a shield. That full-strength straight punch cleanly smashed into his own person's chest. A few ribs were broken and the person spat out a mouthful of pus and blood. The strength of this punch was obviously not something an ordinary person could do. It was at least a third-rate master. The bald fatty Zhu Fei was able to bring a few masters with him when he went out. Obviously, he wasn't an ordinary gangster. He was a master who had some success in the underground world. Since the opponent wasn't an ordinary person and was also a master with some strength that had just entered the door, Su Yun didn't hold back. Not sure if it was because he killed to his heart's content in the Suong Lakeside Villa area, Su Yun now had a feeling that he couldn't stop facing his opponent. Su Yun quickly threw away the person he was using as a shield, and his fist was already smashing towards the other person. Along with the force of the punch, that person was forcefully smashed backwards and fell to the ground. The back of his head hit the ground, and he instantly fainted from the fall. Although one of his companions had his ribs broken and spat out blood, and the other had his head hit the ground and fainted, it did not affect the attack of the person behind him. The guy standing behind Su Yun took the opportunity to attack, directly clawing at Su Yun's back. But before Su Yun could even turn around, Dan Jiahao, who was standing beside Su Yun, had already made his move. He raised his leg and kicked away the claw that was attacking Su Yun. He cursed angrily and mercilessly threw a punch at the face of the guy who had shot the arrow from behind. Su Yun was still worried that Dan Jiahao wouldn't be a match for a third-rate expert, but he saw that Dan Jiahao had already smashed the face of the person behind him with a punch. Yo, this kid is really something. It seems like he has been training his body every day. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such explosive power. Obviously, a third-rate expert wouldn't be defeated by Dan Jiahao's fist. The person was furious, as if he had failed miserably. The veins on his arms bulged, and he was so angry that he wanted to crush his opponent to death. But before he could make a move, Su Yun's explosive kick landed heavily on his chest like an arrow. The guy who was kicked in the middle flew back a few meters, slamming into the wall before falling to the ground. He couldn't move anymore. Seeing the three people killed in an instant, the two young men standing behind Zhu Fei's sofa couldn't help but step in front of Zhu Fei to protect him. Looking at their bulging temples and focused eyes, it was clear that their strength was one level higher than the three third-rate experts who couldn't even withstand a single blow from before. Zhu Fei was also shocked. He had to admit that he never thought that a small place like Hadong City would have such a fierce expert. His three bodyguards had been killed in an instant, and he was still unable to accept this fact for a while. Although Dan Jiahao had the ability to resist the first and third-rate experts, Su Yun was still very clear about the difference between a second-rate and third-rate expert. In front of these two second-rate experts, Dan Jiahao could be described as being unable to withstand a single blow, so he had to stop him from acting irrationally again. Good job. Who taught you that? Su Yun didn't kill the two second-rate experts in one go because he was afraid that Dan Jiahao would follow suit. If by any chance he was hit by a punch or a kick from an expert of that level, it wouldn't be as simple as breaking an arm or a leg. Dan Jiahao scratched his head embarrassedly. Brother Yun didn't praise him easily. He was so proud that he felt like he had eaten honey. Brother Liangshan taught me a few moves when he was free. Hee, Brother Yun, what do you think? Seeing that he was so proud, Su Yun didn't discourage him. Good, very good. Do you want to learn something better? Stand here and watch. If you want to learn from me, watch carefully. Hearing this, Dan Jiahao nodded like a woodpecker. He nodded and stepped back. Seeing that Su Yun wasn't afraid at all and looked ready to fight, Zhu Fei felt depressed. He hadn't felt this way for many years. Although there were many capable juniors in Jinan City, he hadn't met anyone who could make him feel so depressed. Little brother, I think you're good at fighting, but I still want to warn you that you have no chance of winning if you fight with two of my best men at the same time, Zhu Fei said lightly. Zhu Fei said faintly. Although he was a little depressed, he would not show it because he had been through a lot. The smile on Su Yun's face was very relaxed. Really? But why do I feel like they're the ones who will die? Before Zhu Fei said anything, the two men were already angry. No matter what, the other party was only one person, and he wanted to fight them one-on-one. He must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. Didn't he know how strong two second-rate masters were when they joined forces? Su Yun only used one sentence to subdue the two people who were burning with rage. The two of you are not even second-rate fifth stage. With this level of standard, are you qualified to show off in front of me? I'll only warn you once. If you don't want to die, get lost. The two men were completely dumbfounded. A person who could see through their ranks must be a level higher than them. Could it be that they were facing a first-rate master? How could it be? This wasn't Beijing, nor was it a big city like Shenzhen. How could there be a first-rate master? Seeing that his men were stunned, Zhu Fei certainly wouldn't admit defeat so easily. He glared at them. Humph, what's there to be afraid of when you two are fighting one person? I didn't raise you to be afraid. Why don't you use your brains? What kind of big shot could there be in Hadong City? If he really had the ability to deal with the two of you, would he need to warn you? Why didn't he warn Ah Yi and the other two just now? Hearing Zhu Fei's words, the two men also believed that Su Yun was just bluffing. What he said just now was just a conjecture. There were no first-class masters in Hadong. This person was at most at the same level as them. If it was 2 against 1, he had no chance of winning. That was why he said so much just now. If he could really beat the two of them, why would he need to warn them? Boss Zhu Fei was still the one who saw things clearly. Since that was the case, the two men no longer hesitated. Both of them wanted to show off in front of their boss. Naturally, they attacked fiercely one after another. The guy with the triangular eyes attacked Su Yun's lower body, while the guy with the mustache attacked Su Yun's upper body. The two men wanted to use this cooperation to disrupt Su Yun's defense plan. But who would have thought that Su Yun didn't even think about defending? If he was still a first-rate master, he wouldn't dare to be careless. He might have really defended. But now, Su Yun was no longer a beginner. His strength had already undergone a qualitative change. How could a supermaster be afraid of two second-rate masters? Although the two men attacked at the same time, they still paid attention to one in front and one behind. Even if the time difference between their attacks was only 0.1 seconds, it was enough for Su Yun to make a judgment. Su Yun did not move an inch as he waited for the two men to attack him from above and below. Just as the two men were about to succeed, Su Yun finally moved. He suddenly raised his leg and executed a simple and clean downward chop. Without any fancy moves, he ruthlessly chopped down on the head of the man with the mustache who was about to attack his collarbone and throat with two triangular awls. This powerful kick carried a huge inertia as it smashed down viciously. The mustache man's chin heavily struck the Bai Hui acupoint on the top of the man with the triangular eyes who had made his move a tenth of a second later than him. As the triangular eye's body crashed to the ground, he also fainted because of the heavy blow to the Bai Hui acupoint on the top of his head. The mustache man who was lying on top of him rolled his eyes and rolled off him. His entire jaw was crushed and he could only eat with his hand holding his chin for the rest of his life. Su Yun didn't plan to play with them seriously just now. Su Yun, who showed his real strength, could kill two second-rate masters without any pressure. Zhu Fei, who was completely dumbfounded, finally couldn't sit still. He opened his mouth wide and looked at his men lying on the ground in surprise. The only one who wasn't a master was knocked out when Su Yun broke in. 3 third-rate masters were easily defeated, and 2 second-rate masters were instantly killed by the sudden burst of powerful fighting strength. What the hell was this place? How could there be such a person? Qin Zhongming was once again convinced by Su Yun. During the years when he was the secretary of Jinan City, Zhu Fei, the local bully, had caused him a lot of trouble, but the police couldn't do anything to him because his subordinates were too good at fighting. Every time he committed a crime, someone would always take the blame for him. Therefore, Zhu Fei had always been arrogant. This time, Su Yun finally showed him what it meant to say that there was always someone better than you. Originally, Zhu Fei thought that it would be easy to get a bid in a small city like Hadong, but now, he was dumbfounded. Not to mention the artificial river project, he would be thankful if he could go back without a perfect person. He had just arrived at Hadong and encountered such a monster. What else could he do but admit defeat? Master. Brother, you're so skillful. Zhu Fei's Adam's apple moved and he swallowed several mouthfuls of saliva in a row. Today's misunderstanding is between us. I promise I'll leave Hadong City immediately. Let's be friends. When you come to Jinan City in the future, as long as you give me the word, I'll welcome you all the way. Su Yun waved his hand and said, Don't be so polite. I won't go to Jinan City in the future. Even if I go, I won't ask you to welcome me all the way. If you want to leave, I only have one condition. If you can do it, I'll take it as a misunderstanding and you can go wherever you want. Although Zhu Fei was gnashing his teeth with hatred, he agreed without hesitation. Brother, just tell me what you want. I'll do it right away. I won't complain. Su Yun smiled and pointed to the hot pot of Tiguanyin tea on the tea table. Drink the tea. Don't be thirsty on the way. Chapter 323. On the way back, Qin Zhongming told Su Yun about the fat man Zhu Fei's identity in Jinan City. Su Yun was quite surprised. He didn't expect to meet the leader of the underground forces in Jinan City. Dan Jiahao couldn't stop laughing all the way. When he thought of the fat man's swollen tongue after being scalded by the tea, he couldn't help but want to smash the steering wheel. It was so funny. Especially later, when Brother Yun asked him to finish the tea so that he wouldn't be hungry on the way, he ate it without hesitation. Dan Jiahao couldn't figure out how such a guy could survive until today. Uncle Qin, that fat man is so cowardly. How could he be the boss of Jinan City? Are all the men in Jinan City this good? Dan Jiahao didn't think much of the fat man Zhu Fei. Qin Zhongming didn't expect Su Yun to be so good at martial arts. He sighed with emotion. Yes, he hasn't met anyone like you in Jinan City, Su Yun. Uncle Qin, you can't find a second person like my brother Yun in Hadong City. Dan Jiahao said proudly. Okay. Focus on driving. Su Yun glared at him. Qin Zhongming smiled slightly. Yes, if Zhu Fei hadn't met Su Yun, how many people in Hadong City would have been able to go against him? He now suspected that the person who attacked Lu Feng a few days ago was Zhu Fei. The more he is like this, the more we can't relax our vigilance. I asked him to drink hot tea, and he drank it. He ate tea when I asked him to. This shows that he can endure. For him to be able to reach his current position, it must have something to do with his tolerance. Su Yun analyzed. A real man can endure what the world can't, so he can do what the world can't. Han Xian can endure the humiliation. I don't need to tell you this story, do I? Although Zhu Fei doesn't deserve to be compared with Han Xian, he can do this, which shows that he is not an ordinary person. Jiahao, you're still far from it. After listening to Su Yun's words, Dan Jiahao no longer made fun of Zhu Fei. He didn't expect that this guy would be so bad in Brother Yun's eyes. Even Brother Yun didn't say that he looked down on him, so he didn't have the qualifications to look down on him. That's right, a true man can endure what the world can't endure, so he can do what the world can't do. It's still Brother Yun who speaks well. Dan Jiahao was wholeheartedly convinced. If his brother Dan Hongning had educated him like this, he would have turned hostile long ago. This was what it meant to have one thing subduing another. He admired Su Yun so much that he prostrated himself on all fours, so whatever Su Yun said was good. Su Yun ignored Dan Jiahao and said to Qin Zhongming, "Uncle Qin, I think there will be a lot of people looking for trouble with you because of this project. You'd better hold a meeting and announce a minimum qualification standard for the bidders. If the company doesn't meet this qualification standard, it will naturally give up. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be a second Zhu Fei, and a third Zhu Fei." Qin Zhongming nodded. Su Yun's words were too reasonable. He decided to announce the minimum qualification of the bidding early tomorrow morning. Companies that didn't meet the National Housing Construction Project's first-level qualification were not qualified to bid. This would make many people completely give up. For example, companies like Lu Feng's that only had a third-level qualification standard didn't need to think about it at all. Because the company's registered capital was more than 6 million yuan, the manager had more than 5 years of experience in construction management, 50 engineering technical and economic management personnel, and 10 personnel with intermediate titles or above. They could pass the third-level qualification standard review. The second-level qualification was 2 or 3 times more than the third-level qualification in various indicators, and the personnel with 2 senior titles were enough. Therefore, there were too many second- and third-level qualification construction companies. Once Qin Zhongming set the qualification standard, some companies that didn't meet the standard would know the difficulty and give up. That would save a lot of trouble. Why didn't he directly set the special qualification standard? That was because there were only a few large construction companies in Jiangbei province. If it didn't attract the attention of other companies, and only the people from the Tangs Group came, wouldn't that mean he colluded with the Tangs Group? Feng Guoqing would definitely not let go of this point. Therefore, Qin Zhongming had to make such a decision. Anyway, even if there were a few first-level qualification companies, they were not worth mentioning in front of the Tangs Group. Now, Qin Zhongming was most worried about whether the Tangs Group would come or not. "Su Yun, I'm counting on you for this project. If the Tangs Group really comes to bid, I believe this will be the best project in Hadong City in the next 5 years. It will also be the project that can stimulate the economy the most. It will benefit both the country and the people." Su Yun smiled faintly. "Uncle Qin, don't worry." At this time, Dan Jiahao had already driven the car to Qin Zhongming's building. Qin Zhongming squeezed Su Yun's shoulder hard. "Su Yun, Uncle Qin has caused you a lot of trouble since coming to Hadong City. To be honest, I have my own selfish reasons for this project. I don't want to stay in Hadong City until I retire, so I need to make some achievements." "Uncle Qin, you don't have to say anything. Your business is my business, so I'll definitely help you." Su Yun smiled and nodded. "It's getting late. Uncle Qin, you should go back and rest." Qin Zhongming looked at Su Yun with a firm and trusting gaze, then got out of the car and left. He felt much more relieved now. The sudden reduction of pressure made him feel much more relaxed. After returning to the hotel, Su Yun filled the bathtub with hot water. He lay in the bathtub and relaxed his muscles. Soon, he entered a calm state of mind. He didn't know if it was because he had been in a nervous state all this time, but he felt that his state of mind was growing very quickly. Without realizing it, he had broken through the state of a super expert and entered the state of a super expert. Needless to say, Su Yun's improvement was frightening. Aside from ordinary players, breaking through to the Tier 2 standard in such a short time was already an incredibly difficult task for Shifeng, who had reached the Tier 2 standard in such a short time. To be honest, Su Yun couldn't believe his rapid growth. He wondered if there was something wrong with him. Would this incredible increase in strength cause any side effects to his body? If Yu Meiren were here at this time, then all of his problems would be solved. Su Yun felt that it was necessary for him to do a comprehensive checkup, but the only one who could do this was Yu Meiren. And now, he still didn't know if she was out of danger. Ever since he learned about Yu Meiren's accident from Wang Yi, Su Yun immediately sent an email to Yin Long. He knew that Yin Long would go online to reply to his online girlfriend every time he finished a mission. So, as soon as the members of the Dragon Fury team finished a mission, Yin Long would be the first to see his email. He just wanted to know if Yu Meiren was alright. Su Yun held his phone and looked at the empty mailbox. There was no reply. There was no movement at all. Once all of them entered mission mode, Su-Yun couldn't contact them at all. Unless he hacked into the Dragon Fury Brigade's dedicated radio to communicate, but that was too dangerous. If the communication signal was intercepted, it was very likely that all of his brothers would be in danger. So, Su-Yun endured and waited. Just as Su-Yun's mind was in a mess, his phone vibrated. There was a message. Su-Yun quickly opened it and found that it was from Tang Jiu. "Are you asleep? If you're not, can you chat with me?" "I can't sleep." Su-Yun smiled. He had something to talk to her about, so he called her back. "It's so late. Why aren't you asleep?" "I can't sleep." Tang Jiu was stunned for a moment before answering. She didn't seem to expect Su-Yun to call back so quickly. "It's so late. Why aren't you asleep? Did my message disturb you?" Su-Yun nodded. "Yeah, I was sleeping soundly when you woke me up with a text message. I'm afraid it won't be easy for me to fall asleep again." Tang Jiu laughed. "Come on. If you were asleep, how could you call me back so quickly? How could you not be angry when you were woken up in the middle of a good sleep?" "If I was woken up in the middle of a good sleep, I would have been angry." "Are you in Hadong City?" "I'm not that angry." Su-Yun laughed. "How did you know I was in Hadong City?" "If you were in Ji-Bay, you wouldn't be hanging out with that white-lipped bamboo snake from Sky Entertainment Group every day, right? That's why I thought you were back in Hadong City." It looks like I was right. Tang Jiu paused and then asked, "How's my dad?" Su-Yun's answer was straightforward. "I just got back to Hadong City this morning, so I haven't been to Uncle Tang's place. I think he's doing well. I'll find some time to visit him tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll let you know if anything happens." Then I'll have to trouble you." Tang Jiu was obviously not in a good mood. "Did you run into something you can't handle?" Su-Yun smiled. "If there's anything you can't handle, just tell me. Maybe I can help you. You gave my daughter such a big hotel. As long as you ask, I can't refuse you." Tang Jiu laughed bitterly. "You might not be able to help me. It's all about some construction projects. I didn't expect the competition to be so intense. A few days ago, there was a Puluo Plaza project, and I failed. Haha, after all, the Tang Group started out in construction. If I can't do something as basic as this, it'll be hard for me to convince the public. That's why I've been having a headache recently." Su-Yun had already guessed this problem. He smiled faintly. "I do have such a project. Do you want to give it a try?" "You have a project?" Tang Jiu rolled his eyes. "Big brother, I beg of you. When I'm feeling down, can you not joke with me like this? A project in Hadong City." Su-Yun ignored Tang Jiu's question and continued. "The government is bidding for a project. They're giving you hundreds of acres of land. Do you want to do it? A fly may be small, but it's still meat." Tang Jiu's eyes widened. Judging from Su-Yun's tone, he wasn't joking. "A few hundred mu of land. This isn't fly meat. Right now, the most valuable thing is land. What project is it? Tell me quickly." Chapter 324. Su-Yun's message to Tang Jiu was simply a stroke of genius. Tang Jiu had been having a headache for days because of the construction bidding. After all, the Tang Group usually focused on the projects in the bigger second-tier cities or first-tier metropolises. They rarely paid attention to the projects in the third-tier cities like Hadong. It was a habit of people to think that no matter how hard they tried, they would not be able to do anything special in a small city like Hadong. But this time, the project Su-Yun told Tang Jiu was different. The next morning, Tang Jiu went to the government's public bidding website as soon as he arrived at the company. He searched for news about the Hadong City's artificial river project. He checked the time and saw that it had been updated just a minute ago. Did Su-Yun really have an inside story? Tang Jiu carefully read the entire project plan. The project location was, of course, Hadong City's man-made river. The government hoped that the entire man-made river could be cleaned up and reconstructed, turning it into a flood-proof and flood discharge channel that was aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Bidders had to be responsible for the entire river's greening and paving. At the same time, the land on both sides of the artificial river was about 3,000 meters long, about 900 mu in total. The developers could develop the land themselves. It would be best if the buildings involved were closely related to tourism and could help Hadong City's economic development. The message was very clear. Whoever built the man-made river would get to own the surrounding land, the things built would still belong to that person, and the money earned could be taken away. What the Hadong government wanted was the economic benefits and tax revenue it would bring. It could also help solve a considerable part of the employment problem. This was definitely a good project to kill two birds with one stone. Tang Jiu couldn't help but admire the leaders of Hadong City. They were able to use the unique conditions to attract foreign investment and develop Hadong City. This was much smarter than those companies that used land in exchange for projects that turned out to be scammers. For the investors, what they built belonged to them. What they left behind was the real thing. Since the project was proposed by the government, they would definitely support and promote it. This way, if the two sides of the artificial river were turned into a commercial street, and the investors were invited to invest, the land on both sides of the artificial river would be more than 3,000 meters long, about 900 mu in total. Just the rent alone would make a lot of money. Although Hadong City was a small city, it was a tourist city. Although the population was small, the number of long-term tourists was high. It was one of the top cities in the country. Therefore, this was a business that was almost guaranteed to be profitable. Seeing this, Tang Jiu immediately called his secretary to arrange a meeting for all the senior management of the company to discuss the problem of this project. Tang Jiu had never been particularly interested in government projects, because most of these projects would eventually be ruined by the ignorance of the government officials. However, this project was obviously different, and Tang Jiu was very interested in it. The Tang Corporation's senior management meeting had just been held yesterday, and the main topic of discussion was to find a suitable project. No one had expected Tang Jiu to bring such a good project to the table today. Ninth sister, our company has always been focused on projects in large and medium-sized cities. Hadong City is a third-rate city at best. Are projects in a place like this reliable? Tang Yifei was still the most unstable member of the Tang group, but because Tang Jiu had someone backing him up, he didn't dare to go too far. Please call me Mr. Tang in the company. Tang Jiu said to Tang Yifei rudely, then pointed to the big screen in the meeting room and said, "This tender requires that the bidder must have the qualifications of a general contractor of a construction project and above, and have the corresponding construction capabilities in terms of personnel, equipment, and funds. The project manager must be a registered architect with the qualifications of a municipal engineering major and above, and he must not be the project manager of any other project under construction." Everyone in the industry knew that such requirements were very strict, which was why Tang Jiu brought it up. Do you think this is unreliable? If it's unreliable, why did they set the qualifications so high? This is obviously a piece of fat meat in Hadong City, and anyone with a discerning eye can see that. That's why the Hadong City government set the requirements so high. Mr. Tang, what do you plan to use to compete? It seemed that he wasn't the only one with doubts. Tang Xiaofeng also said, "This is indeed a piece of fat meat. I'm afraid there will be a lot of people competing for it, right?" Tang Jiu nodded. He was very satisfied with Tang Xiaofeng's questioning. First of all, I want to say that this project is something that many companies with second or third grade qualifications can't get their hands on. Most of the companies with special qualifications like us have their eyes set on the big cities. I'm afraid that not many will pay attention to this bid. So, our competitors will obviously be some companies with first-level qualifications, because they will be in all the big, medium, and small cities. Mr. Tang, you don't think that this project has anything to do with qualifications, do you? Tang Xiaofeng smiled and said, "I have to say that your thinking is very naive. This project is obviously something that a second-grade company can do." The Hadong government raised the grade of this project because of a certain person. So, we don't have an advantage. How can you be so sure that we don't have an advantage? Tang Zhou said bluntly. I've already told you their requirements. The project manager must be a registered architect with the qualifications of a municipal engineering major and above, and he must not be the project manager of any other project under construction. Just this point alone is our advantage. How many project managers do we have that can be used? So many companies with first-level qualifications are hiring people to affiliate with them. Even those who have the qualifications of a municipal engineering major and a registered architect would have been assigned to other projects. So, our advantage is very obvious. Tang Sangua smiled when he saw the two of them getting into a heated argument. Let me say something. At my age, I have more experience than the two of you. There's no doubt about that. Mr. Tang, I wonder if you can listen to me? Tang Zhou nodded. Third uncle, you can be direct. If you give me advice based on your experience, I'll definitely accept it. That's good, that's good. Tang Sangua smiled. I don't think that's what we need to consider in this kind of government tender. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Most of the time, in a government tender, relationships are the most important, followed by the project. Once we have relationships and a good project, then we'll have confidence. Tang Zhou had no objection to Tang Songwa's words. Third uncle, you're right. Tang Yi snorted. Where are we going to find relationships in a small city like Hadong City? What a joke. You don't have to worry about relationships. Tang Zhou smiled proudly. It's because of relationships that I know about this. Otherwise, do you think I'd care about a small city's tender? Everyone was shocked. Tang Zhou was saying that he had relationships with the Hadong city government? No matter how they heard it, it didn't sound believable. Mr. Tang, since when did our Tang group have any relationship with Hadong City? First, we don't have any projects. Second, there's no need to develop relationships. Why haven't I heard of this relationship? Tang Yifei couldn't help but join the team that attacked Tang Zhou. Tang Zhou's tolerance was indeed extraordinary. How many people could persevere in the face of so many objections? Tang Zhenfeng followed his son and said, You're not the only one who hasn't heard of it. Even I haven't heard of our relationship with the Hadong city government. You don't have to worry about that. Tang Zhou said bluntly. I don't have any relationship with the Hadong city government, and Tang Group has nothing to do with the Hadong city government. But there's someone who will help me. Everyone's eyes focused on Tang Zhou. In the end, Tang Xiaofeng asked, Who? Su Yun. This name was enough to make the Tang family speechless. Everyone finally understood how Tang Zhou got this information. It turned out that there was someone helping him. Even so, Tang Sangua still didn't want his niece to treat them with such arrogance. Tang Sangua spoke again. Okay, there's a relationship. But what about the project? What kind of good project can get the Hadong city government's approval? This is even more important than a relationship. We've never done a project with the government, so we don't have any experience. It's easy to fix the river, but the project must be able to increase Hadong City's tax revenue. Only a project like this will be liked by the government. Tang Zhou didn't back down in the face of his uncle's aggressive tone. Yes, the project is the most important thing. Uncle, you're right. And I happen to have a good idea for a project. If you're interested, I can share it with you. Without waiting for the others to express their interest, Tang Zhou had already opened the project presentation that she had personally worked on overnight. Many of the ideas in it were thought of together with Su Yun, and many of the suggestions were given to her by Su Yun. After all, Su Yun understood Qin Zhoming's thoughts, so her suggestions to Tang Zhou were naturally the most direct and effective. My idea is to turn Hadong City's man-made river into a large-scale commercial tourism real estate project that focuses on high-end dining, entertainment, and accommodation. The project will cover an area of 965 acres. After completion, the construction area will reach more than 200,000 square meters. We'll make it the first priority project of the Hadong City government. We'll also be able to sign a strategic cooperation agreement with the Hadong City Tourism Bureau to push forward the project's construction and development. Tang Jiu began her presentation. She was confident that her team could do the project to the best of their ability. Once the project is successfully launched, we can contact all the major dining, entertainment, and accommodation brands to come and investigate. It's a win-win situation, and we can develop together. Chapter 325. Su Yun spent the whole night giving advice to Tang Jiu, so he didn't have the energy to wake up early. When he woke up, it was already 10 o'clock. Cho Yun sent Guagua to school, and Qin Wan also went to work. Ruan Qingshuang, on the other hand, was discussing with the people from the advertising company. They were discussing the branding of the medicinal cuisine hot pot. Jiahao, go out and run an errand. Su Yun put the bag of gifts he got from the old man in front of Dan Jiahao. Go and send me an express delivery, the kind that has global express delivery. If you can send it quickly, pay for it. The address is written on the note, don't get it wrong. Dan Jiahao hurriedly took the thing from Su Yun's hand and looked at the address in confusion. He muttered to himself, Sarone Island in the sea west of Athens? 1288 Central Street, Seli City. Brother Yun, where is this? Su Yun smiled and didn't say anything. He turned around and walked out. He promised Tang Jiu that he would visit Tang Zhengtian today, so of course he had to keep his promise. Although Tang Zhengtian had Hu Lang and Black Martin to take care of him, it was clear that the two of them were indeed a little weak. Su Yun wasn't at ease. There was no shortage of taxis in front of the hotel. Su Yun waved his hand and took a taxi directly to the villa in the eastern suburbs. He hoped that Tang Zhengtian would be comfortable in Hadong, so he could report to Tang Jiu. After Su Yun took a taxi to the villa in the eastern suburbs, he immediately saw Tang Zhengtian's business car parked outside the courtyard. Although he had retired, Tang Zhengtian was still wearing a fitted Chinese tunic suit and was trimming the plants in the courtyard. Uncle Tang. Su Yun greeted him. When Tang Zhengtian saw Su Yun, he was so happy that it took him a while to come back to his senses. Su Yun hadn't come for a while. He knew that Su Yun was very busy, so he didn't expect Su Yun to visit him from time to time. Ha ha, Su Yun, how did you know that I missed you these 2 days? Tang Zhengtian put down the things in his hands and went to greet him with a smile. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's make a deal first. Don't leave this afternoon. Uncle Tang's cooking skills have improved by leaps and bounds recently. How about I make braised fish for you? Stay and have a drink with Uncle Tang. Hearing the noise, Sable and Jackal came out of their rooms. They didn't look like underworld experts at all. One was wearing an apron, while the other was wearing sleeves. Monday was the day of cleaning, so both of them were working in their rooms. Brother Yun, you're here. Sable and Jackal greeted him with a smile. Su Yun also grinned as a response. He then said to Tang Zhengtian, Uncle Tang, you have 2 people beside you. How can you not have anyone to drink with you? Tang Zhengtian waved his hand in disdain. With their alcohol tolerance. Even if they add 2 more, they still can't beat me. It's boring. Sable and Jackal's faces turned red. They were subordinates. How could they drink with their boss until they were drunk? If they did, there would be no rules to speak of. Seeing that Su Yun didn't agree, Tang Zhengtian said again, I'm not treating you to drinks for free. I have something to discuss with you. All right, since Uncle Tang wants me to stay, I'll gladly oblige. Su Yun smiled. Before we eat, do I have to participate in the labor as well? Jackal hurriedly waved his hand and said, No, no, no. Sable and I will finish the work immediately. The boss has been waiting for you. Brother Yun, you can't leave today. You have to stay here and have a good chat with the boss. Su Yun shrugged. Okay. Seeing that Sable and Jackal were busy, Tang Zhengtian brought Su Yun to sit down on a rattan chair in the yard. There was tea ready. Uncle Tang, what do you want to discuss with me? Su Yun asked directly. Tang Zhengtian chuckled and gestured for Su Yun to drink the tea. After a while, he said, Brother Su Yun, you should know that the Tang Group used to be a construction company. Back then, there weren't that many other industries. The Tang Group focused on construction. Su Yun smiled. He could already guess what Tang Zhengtian wanted to say. Uncle Tang, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to be polite with me. It's not like you don't know my relationship with Tang Jiu. I owe her a big favor. Please don't treat me as an outsider. Tang Jiu played a big role in the development of Ruan Qingshuang's medicinal cuisine business. If it weren't for the medicinal cuisine hotel, it would have taken at least a few more years for Ruan Qingshuang's dream to become a medicinal cuisine empire. Tang Jiu gave the hotel to them directly, accelerating the medicinal cuisine business market share. Therefore, when Su Yun said that he owed Tang Jiu a big favor, he wasn't lying at all. If it weren't for such a big favor, Su Yun wouldn't have interfered with the Tang family's business. Unless he was bored and looking for excitement, no one would be willing to cause trouble for him. Tang Jingtian couldn't stop smiling. Su Yun, do you know what I admire about you the most? It's your straightforwardness. Straightforwardness. I like young people like you. In today's society, there are fewer and fewer young people like you. Uncle Tang, I really can't accept your flattery. Su Yun picked up the teacup and gently tasted the jasmine fragrance in the cup. Okay, then I won't say anything else. Tang Zhengtian straightened his body. Not long ago, I heard that the artificial river project in Hadong City was going to be tendered. Based on my many years of experience in this industry, this project can be said to be a fat piece of meat. If the project can be made to be closely related to Hadong City's tourism industry, it will be very beneficial for the investors, the government, and the people. If this project is proposed, it will definitely be a good idea to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Su Yun knew that even though Tang Jingtian had retired, he still had some news. Even though he no longer cared about the projects in the big cities, it was a habit for him to know a little about the news of the places where he lived. After learning about the situation, Tang Zhengtian saw the project at first glance. If he was still in charge of the Tang Group, he would definitely pay attention to this project. But since he said he would completely let go, he wouldn't mention it to anyone. But in the end, Tang Jingtian couldn't hold back. He had been paying attention to the recent news. A few projects that Tang Group was interested in seemed to have been decided on, but it wasn't the Tang Group that got them. So, Tang Jingtian could clearly imagine Tang Jiu's current situation. Now that Su Yun was here, he felt that it was an opportunity to discuss it with Su Yun. Uncle Tang, you are retired. You should enjoy your retirement life. Why are you still worrying about these things? It's so tiring. Su Yun smiled. These things will be Tang Jiu's problem in the future. Tang Zhengtian smiled bitterly. I also want to enjoy my retirement life, but I can't let go. I'm quite irresponsible for leaving. Zhou has to bear such a heavy burden alone. I'm really worried that she won't be able to hold on. Ever since I left the Tang Group, there hasn't been any movement in the company's main industry, the construction industry. You should know that our Tang Group is a company with special qualifications. The bank's credit limit has been more than 500 million for the past 3 years. Although there isn't much pressure this year, if we continue to fall, then the company's main industry won't be able to get the bank's credit limit. It will collapse sooner or later. If the company's main industry collapses, then the Tang Group won't be far from falling apart. Uncle Tang, I understand your concern. Right now, other people are definitely adding insult to injury. This is the only project you mentioned that has been decided. Tang Group has nothing to do with it. Obviously, someone didn't do a good job. Su Yun spoke even more bluntly. Because Tang Jiu hasn't taken over these things before, she doesn't know or understand. She urgently needs to get a project and let those people know that even if they don't do anything, she can still do it herself. That's right. That's what I mean. I hope Tang Jiu can get the training she deserves. Tang Jingtian didn't mince his words. Right now, I have my eyes on this man-made river project. I hope you can help her. Su Yun smiled and said, Uncle Tang, didn't I tell you that you should enjoy your life since you've already retired? You don't have to worry about the young people. Even if you didn't say that, I've already discussed it with Tang Jiao. She really had no choice but to take part in this project. My suggestion to her is to do a large-scale commercial tourism real estate project that focuses on high-end restaurants, entertainment, and accommodation. I think this will be more advantageous. Plus, Mayor Qin, who's in charge of this project, has a good relationship with me. He's a fair person. However, I believe that with Tang Group's qualifications and the attraction of this project to the Hadong city government, Tang Jiao should be able to get it. Tang Zhengtian's eyes widened. He didn't expect Su Yun to have already discussed this with Tang Jiao. It seemed that he was really old and worried about things. Su Yun, I really should look at you in a new light. You're more thorough than me. With your help, Tang Jiao will definitely get through this. However, as someone who has been through this before, I have to warn you not to underestimate your opponent. This project is very attractive. I'm afraid that other competitors will try to play tricks. Uncle Tang, you don't have to worry about this. Su Yun was quite confident. This is Hadong. Whoever dares to play tricks here will have to ask for my permission first. With Su Yun's words, Tang Jingtian was obviously relieved. At this time, Sable and Hu Lang had also finished cleaning. They hurriedly ran out and invited the two into the house to continue their discussion. Tang Jingtian stood up with a smile. Let's go inside. Uncle Tang will make you braised fish. Let's have a good drink. Let's make a deal. We're not going home until we're drunk. Su Yun nodded. Uncle Tang, since you've said so, I definitely can't refuse. I'll show you what I can do. My specialty is stew. As long as you have the ingredients in your fridge, I can use anything. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.